How's it going there, folks? RJ here at the Break Room Podcast, joined by none other than So Cole! So Cole! So Cole!
All you pieces of trash, ready for episode 9, and give me a hell yeah!
Hell yeah! Well, welcome to another exciting episode of the Break Room. As you can see, we have the superstars of the WWE history on the table here. Now, if you want to break us into this little plastic collection here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just visited the Wrestling Universe store in Comac. They have multiple stores on Long Island. Really, really awesome store if you're into wrestling figure collecting, if you're into autographs. Just a really cool place. Turns back the clock, yeah. With the Macho Man and the cream of the crop figure from Mattel Elite Collection.
Truly the finest days of the WWE.
And
So, Joe, he's actually
rises
holding-
to the top, yeah.
He's actually holding the creamer.
Little
right
creamer,
there.
yeah. Yeah, we also went ahead and picked up some Hasbros. I got some Series 1 and Series 2 Hasbros from 1990, 1991. And Rob went ahead and started adding to his already extensive collection. And he got the Shiki Baby. My name is Kane. He also got Mankind. Mankind is dead. That's it. He's dead. And he also got the Macho Madness NWO version.
Yeah.
I love these guys, though. You know, I have a, like he said, I have an extensive collection of these guys.
Extensive.
And you know what it was? It was kind of one of those things that my older cousins had those figures, and they wouldn't let me play with them. I was like, fuck these guys.
Fuck you
So
guys.
when I got older, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to buy all the toys. And I got the ring, and I got a bunch of guys, and then they went into a fucking bin in my attic like everything else, and I don't get to look at them at all. And I'm really, really mad because I wanted to set up the ring on the table today. I can't find it to save my life.
We'll find it.
He
It's
searched
like-
for about 25 minutes.
I
for
was
that
up
ring,
there.
and
I was
then, you
tearing
know,
shit
when we
apart.
were
Shit fell out of the attic. I mean, it was like a whole fucking mess. But
Good
I
God
couldn't
Almighty,
find
he
it.
killed him.
But it's up there. I promise. There's a vintage WWF ring, and even farther in the crevices of my attic has got to be somewhere the WCW ring.
That attic is like an arc.
It's insane.
There's just so much.
And the Ark is actually in there too. That's the worst part. That's actually part of
Indy's
the
Ark.
collection. I have the vintage playset. In fact, we even discussed it in the last podcast where the only thing I'm missing is the German truck, and that's the only
Oh,
piece of
that's
the
right.
entire
That's
collection
right.
I'm missing.
Somebody out there's got.
I went on eBay. It's
Somebody.
like $400, $500. But
shit.
Damn.
the ones that are listed that I was looking at, because I don't want one that's incomplete. If I'm gonna complete the
Gotta be in
fucking
the-
collection, it's got to be complete.
Absolutely.
So I found 2 that are in the box. One is like in Argentina or some shit. I'm not fucking ordering it from Argentina because I'm never gonna get it. But the other one's like $450, and it's like that's a lot of money.
Go for originally? How much it cost?
Oh god,
50
it was
bucks?
probably like $20.
Oh my god!
It was probably
Oh,
no
yeah.
more than 20 because it was just a little convoy truck. That's all it was.
Looks like it's perfect for GI Joes and. You know.
Oh yeah, and it was the same scale. And the reason why is Kenner put out that line.
Oh,
They were
okay.
already putting out the Star Wars line, but I do appreciate that they made those toys a little different. Because if you notice on their articulation, you actually bend their knees. When their leg bends out, it actually bends like on an angle, so it actually is more of a natural bend as opposed to just straight bend over. And it made it, more feasible for like riding the Arabian horse that he had, or the trucks and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really cool line. It was a very limited line. They didn't have everybody. They had like a Marion Ravenwood. They had 2 versions of her. One came with the Streets of Cairo playset. One was just by itself. They had Indy, Belloc, like a couple of enemies, and Sala, and like the playsets. And that's really the whole line.
Wrestling Universe. They do. They have a lot of like former wrestlers come in, do a lot.
Oh
of
yeah,
autographs.
They
signs
do.
all the time.
In
That's
fact,
cool.
they have another location in Queens, and March 26th this year,
Oh yeah.
Sergeant Slaughter is going to be making an appearance.
Oh.
My boy, so I
Give me some Sarge, Robbie, baby.
At ease, Aziz. Give your hearts to America, Jews, because your butts belong to me. Yo, Joe.
And you're-
Yo, Joe.
You're good friends with Sarge too. Like
Yeah,
he's-
he's an absolute sweetheart of a man.
That's
And,
Best Sergeant Slaughter cosplay is sitting next to me. So.
yeah.
yeah.
He's told me on multiple occasions if he had to go to the bathroom, he'd just make me stand there for
That's
But
cool.
yeah, that store is amazing. They have multiple stores, but me and Rob aren't the only ones who are stacking the deck on our collection. Chris, before you show the Horde, we did take a couple of weeks to kind of order a specific item for you, and you haven't actually physically seen it yet. So this is a podcast first, an actual unboxing, unwrapping of Chris getting his WWE Attitude Blue Eagle, Big Eagle.
Well, it's not the Blue Eagle.
It's not the Blue Eagle, it's a Big Eagle. It's the heavyweight championship title from the Attitude Era.
Now, I also want to add.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Let's show it to the.
Make sure you guys can see that back home. It is actually it is beautiful now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
And I love that it's got the the actual buttons and not
Oh,
the
it buttons up
Velcro
really
crap.
great. You can put it on display. It's a great display piece. I have it on my collection as well. I got the Winged Eagle mini belt recently as well. Speaking of belts, if you guys haven't already seen the unboxing of the Winged Eagle dual-plated belt from WWE Shop, that's available now on our podcast channel. So tune into YouTube, the Break Room Podcast YouTube channel, and check out that unboxing video.
So
more
disappointed.
unboxing videos to come if you guys really enjoy that. I know Rob has a ton of stuff that he can unbox. He's constantly ordering
He can
stuff.
still unbox.
Yeah,
bad,
I mean,
yeah,
he can
it's-
unbox this entire
I thought you were
basement
gonna
if we had
bring
to.
the fucking belt here, though. I was
It's
excited to
fucking
see this
pouring
thing.
out,
I know
brother.
it's raining, snowing.
And now it's snowing.
I can't
We'll
wait to
see
see
snowing,
this
it's
thing. That thing looks
pouring.
serious.
You know.
We'll save it.
It
because
looks.
while
wanna
we're on
wear
that
it.
Topic.
Yeah.
Joe did get the dual-plated Winged Eagle, so I'm jealous now.
Uh-oh.
Naturally, I can't let Joe have the
And
only
that's
belt.
my favorite belt is that original heavyweight championship belt.
I'm telling you,
That's
when I ordered
definitely my
mine,
favorite.
I didn't even know that there was a whole collection of these
Oh,
things.
they have all of them.
Oh yeah.
Because those are cool.
And if you go on Hogan's Beach Shop, he actually sells some of them
whatever.
signed.
Signed, yeah.
But those look awesome. I like the classic ones definitely better than the one I have. I didn't know that they did all of them though.
So
I
here's
really
the
had no
thing,
idea.
Joe got himself an actual replica, and so I took a look at the WWE shop. I was gonna
Here
get
we
the
go.
full-size version of this,
The Big Eagle.
the Big Eagle, right? So I was gonna get one of these guys. Now it goes for about $320. Now I do recall that my brother Mike did go to WrestleMania 18,
Yeah.
and he has that belt. He actually got it at WrestleMania 18.
Yeah.
Which that means that instead of having the WWE version of the logo, it would actually be the
WWF, which you
Wow,
cannot
that's
get
fair.
anymore. And that was also the last WrestleMania to showcase the Big Eagle belt.
Oh wow.
After that, they kind of merged the WCW Big Gold belt and the WWF at the time Attitude Era Big Eagle belt into the Undisputed Championship. So that will be the last Mania where we actually saw that particular version of the title.
My brother does actually have that belt as well.
Did you ask him? What did he say?
Well, so I asked him because I said, "Hey, I can buy this right from the shop, and that's no problem. But I remember that you have it, and
Sell it.
I don't know if you maybe want some money. It'll go to a good place because he's probably got it stored away. I haven't seen it at his house. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
It's
I
not hanging
figured-
above the fireplace.
yeah, exactly. So I figure, hey, if you want, maybe if you want to give me a deal.
Chris
on
is
it,
like,
I
I'll
can
wear
buy
it
for
around
this
every
much."
day, all day. I'll fucking wear
Yeah.
this thing to work, whatever, whatever.
So
Is it gonna-
more to come
thinking?
on that,
Yeah,
but maybe by next week if Joe has his belt, hopefully by then maybe I have that belt. And we can,
Strap, brother.
we
These
can
fucking guys upstaging
elevate.
me.
But no, apart from that though, apart from the
We got a little
belts,
mini one.
we, got,
They're all buying.
we do have some other stuff.
Oh,
to
yeah.
show.
You got-
Oh, yeah.
If you recall, we were looking for the on the toy hunt. I was looking for the Shawn Michaels with the blue pants, and I actually, we got that in the box set. We talked about that, but when we were at, what was the name of the store?
Wrestling Universe.
Wrestling Universe. So while we were there, they had this
Comac.
as a Lucy in Comac. This was a Lucy, so that's great. 'cause
Where's
I don't have
Ricky?
to open them up. Super amped about that. The other thing that we spoke
We'll see
about.
I home. Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Their first toy that they ever
beautiful.
had was this Macho Man right here. And if you recall, we were on the record. We were saying I've
Yeah.
been looking for that black and white.
You know what's going to be great?
Exactly.
Chris is actually going to go into his attic. He's going to open this thing, and all this shit's going to be there, and he bought it all for no reason because he still has it.
It's very possible, but you know what? I'm happy to have some spares. So it's a box set. You could actually, you'll see in the toy hunt that we put out later, but it's got the rubber belt
Yeah.
as a prop around Hogan's waist there, but really cool. Beyond
What's
that-
crazy about that figure is if you actually look at the card on that figure shows Macho Man and Hulk Hogan in their red and yellow attire, which means that they had to quickly switch it to the NWO style attire when Hogan actually went bad, which is like a quick
on the
fix.
front.
But they didn't have enough time to get photos in of Hogan and Macho in the NWO So that's like one of the last times you saw Hogan in red and yellow before
see.
there was like a good, I don't know, 3 or 4 years where he was nothing but NWO. And the same thing for Macho Man, as you can see, Rob's
So this
Hasbro
here.
was in the NWO colors as well.
See, if I recall, I feel like I had that version of the toy too, and it was the same thing with the Macho, except it was red and yellow, right?
Yeah, the original
had
one,
that one
the
as
original
well.
one was red and yellow, which is the one that's supposed to be on that card is red and yellow, but they had to repaint them when they both went to the NWO.
So for the next toy hunt, that's definitely
want the
something
red
to
and
look
yellow
forward
Macho?
to. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
look for the red and yellow.
Okay.
But beyond that, we got a couple of other little things. So another Lucy. So I actually already have one of these. It's a coffin. I keep my coins in this at home. So this thing's awesome.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love this.
yeah.
It's a little
It's a great
container.
little-
I can
yeah.
put.
I honestly
shit
didn't
in there.
expect the detailing inside. I thought it was
Oh
just
yeah,
gonna be
like
a
the
plastic
purple
thing.
padding. Yeah, really cool.
And
Cool.
I had a parakeet that died once, and I almost buried it in this.
Jesus
I
Christ.
God.
almost buried it in this.
Awkward.
Instead of selling it to a blind kid, you know, like.
Well, you know the
jeez.
birdies to win.
Petey.
One other thing that I got. This was really.
I've never seen that set ever.
Yeah, so
I
this
had
is
that
Lucy,
Stone
right?
Cold. I had that Stone Cold with the Stone Cold University shirt. I've never seen that Shawn Michaels with a vest and white tights. Never.
Yeah, so I mean, you obviously won't be able to see from there really, but Shawn Michaels got. You know, I mentioned I have the blue tight Shawn Michael, which I've been looking for. My brother had the red tights, which I'm still kind of looking for. But I've never seen this before, a white tights with the black and white and red
And
zebra.
that card
mark.
is pristine too.
Yeah, it's in very good condition, and you know, it's super sick. And when you look at the back of the card, there's like just all these other wrestlers on.
I want
there.
that
And
ring.
actually, while it's in the frame, this is the new thing that I'm looking for. The next toy hunt.
Yeah.
This is the
Raw
thing
is
to
War.
find. It's the Raw is War monster ring. This thing was
I bet you
awesome.
Blast from the Past has it somewhere.
I hope so.
They
I
have
asked
insane
him,
amounts of stuff.
I asked him at the Wrestle Zone. He said that he hasn't seen it.
Wrestling
come-
Universe.
Wrestling Universe.
Wrestling Universe. I like how the store's laid out too.
Oh,
You
Yeah,
really get
yeah.
a good, you know, you can see
Yeah, the
everything.
newer stuff and then the older stuff.
Well, actually, I have a lot of good footage, so we'll follow
Yeah.
up with a video of that store.
Yeah.
That guy's cool too.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Talking
Yeah.
with whoever was running the shop there.
It was a good time. I mean, that would be like my dream as a kid going to a store.
Oh
like that.
God.
Right.
Oh yeah, because we didn't have stuff like that. We went to KB
Yeah,
and
but Toys
found
R Us.
stuff like marked down. And
Well, how
well,
what
Toys
do
R
these
Us didn't
things
have
go
the
for?
wrestlers, right?
Like
Wasn't it
$12?
KB that only had the wrestling figures?
Toys R Us had wrestlers. Yeah, they had the whole Hasbro license actually. KB did not have Hasbro figures during that.
Not the Hasbro ones. No, I know, but
The
like
KB had Jack
Super
specific
They
and
they
Bone
had
Crunchers.
they had the Bone
absolutely.
Crunchers and all that stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
And what do these things go for? Like when they $12.99?
They were like $7 back then.
So the Hasbro figures, when they were originally released, which is this line with Hulk Hogan, $1 Million Man, Andre the Giant, there's a couple of others, Jake the Snake, Demolition, and Macho Man. They were $3.99.
Oh my God.
I got them for about $20 each. These are actually in pristine for being Lucy
Yeah.
and for being almost 35 years old. They're insane shape.
That Hogan has no scuffs on it.
No scuffs. Same thing with the Warrior. I've never seen, like, he has two Warriors. They're both a little off,
dinged
but
up, yeah.
the arms on them work. It still makes the click, click, click noise. So I had to get those. I wasn't going to start a Hasbro collection again because I fucking had them all and I got rid of them all. I had all the LJN figures, got rid of them all for free. I didn't sell them. I gave them away to, friends. As you get older, you give stuff away.
Not me.
But if I see stuff in this type of condition, I will snag it again.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, just to show you, like, if you had that Hogan or that Andre mint on card, you're talking upwards of $600-700.
Holy shit.
And what is my Sarge on card worth? You said
The Sergeant Slaughter Hasbro card,
Yeah.
probably at $250. After you get it signed, it's probably like $400.
That's the thing that blows my mind every time. And that's like when you said, like, oh, you bought it for no reason. I'm thinking, shit, I mean, the
'Cause-
value of these things is
yeah.
just going to go up. Like, these guys aren't going to be around forever. It's,
Yeah.
it's literally.
Well, that Hasbro Sarge was like a huge watershed mark for both the WWF and Hasbro at the time. Because Rob, I think we have a video coming up showing him the LJN figure. I think we posted that yet on our social
I
platforms?
just put like a little teaser of it.
Teaser
but,
of it.
I was kind of trying to figure out what we should do with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll throw it up there and there's a short or something.
Yeah, so during the early 80s, Sergeant Slaughter was actually let go from the World Wrestling Federation because he wanted to sign with Hasbro and do G.I. Joe cartoons and
That's
do
right.
G.I. Joe action figures. So he was actually supposed to be in the first ever series wrestling figures from the WWF Wrestling Classic Superstars from LJN, and they cut him out of that line. There's a prototype
There's
out
a
there,
prototype, yeah.
which Zack Ryder
what you're
has,
talking
Matt
He
Cardona.
has a removable
he
hat.
that
and
guy
stuff.
has that?
He actually
Yeah.
has the actual resin prototype, unpainted, from one of the LJN, people who worked in the
It's like
factory.
a flesh-colored.
Yeah.
It's all.
Yeah, it's resin too, so it's not really like the real actual material. It's like a prototype material. So he has that figure, and then to kind of spite, the LJN, Hasbro, who now owns the rights to Sergeant Slaughter, came out with the figure that Rob has, which is a mail-away figure.
Yeah.
And I had that figure as a kid. You had to buy X amount of GI Joes, cut out the UPC symbol in the back, mail it away, and then they would mail you that Sergeant Slaughter. And I can visualize me sitting on my kitchen table, opening up, unpacking it, and holding that Sergeant Slaughter, which it just brings back so many good memories for me.
They
as a
made you
kid.
earn Sarge back in the
You
day, because
really
even
did.
with the regular size, the 3 3/4 inch,
Yeah.
you had to you got all these proofs of purchase. You
Yep.
had to call a number,
Yep.
a specific phone number,
Yep.
and Sarge would be on the phone. Not really
90s.
Sarge, it was
Yeah,
like
his-
a
yeah,
recording or
recording.
something. He'd tell you a code. You got to write that code on the mail away.
Yeah.
And that's how you got Sergeant
Yeah.
Slaughter.
Wait, the
90s
Sarge would
marketing
tell you
is
the code?
unmatched.
This was the 80s. Yeah, this was.
This is like what? I mean, you figure.
What was it, 84?
1984 LGN Series 1 came out. That Sergeant Slaughter figure probably came out around 86, 87. Wow. Yeah.
The LJN style, but the original
LJN.
mail away.
The original mail away, you're probably looking at around 85.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But that Hasbro Sergeant Slaughter that we were talking about that you're going to get signed, that was a huge watershed moment because that was the first ever wrestling figure of Sergeant Slaughter, and now Hasbro, conveniently enough, owns the license to WWF. So now they can actually put out Sergeant Slaughter figures and not have
Under
it
the
kind of
banner.
clash with the license of G.I. Joe.
Which
and
is the reason
WWF.
why we haven't seen like a 6-inch style Sergeant
Sergeant
Slaughter
Slaughter.
figure, because he's no longer part of that. He's stuck with the WWE now.
So that Sergeant Slaughter collection is gonna grow. That's what I'm hearing now.
Well, I mean,
Gonna be new figures?
some of the stuff that I have in there is worth a pretty penny.
Somebody saw I don't even think they commented, but they did see that figure in the box when we posted something, and they were like, "That's the LJN." They were literally like,
Yeah.
they could tell
Because that's the most expensive
LJN.
LJN
Oh, it's the most valuable.
Sergeant Slaughter figure to date.
Wow.
Well, that's
Period.
that. I think that's the most expensive LJN style figure there is.
Because it's a loose one, yes. But I mean, if you had an on-card like Macho Man or
Oh,
Bret
yeah.
Hart, Ultimate Warrior from the Black Card series, it would be more money.
I mean, if
but-
you had still in the mailer box.
Oh, God.
forget it. That,
I
I've
don't think
never
there's
seen
anyone
that.
on Earth who has that still away in like the
who would get
plastic.
that mailed and
There's
then
no
never
way.
open it. Like,
There's no way.
yeah, yeah.
You couldn't
so
foresee things,
Especially for how much shit you had to go through to
You
get
could-
one.
You
Like,
could not
that's a
wait
lot
to
of hoops.
open that as a kid, which I can test to that firsthand because I had it. So,
before you could track packages on your phone too.
No,
You're just sitting like a dog looking out the window every day,
no.
waiting for the package. Is it coming?
just check my mailbox every day as a kid. Open the mailbox. Open the
It
mailbox.
probably took 6 months to even get the thing, right?
It took a
After you-
minute. I don't remember. It was a long time ago, but I remember just the smell alone. Like I used to love the smell of those rubber
Factory.
figures. Yeah.
no, that's like the first thing like real toy collectors do. They open up the package,
Smell it.
and you smell it.
Can
it's
you
like,
smell
that's
it?
Fucked. It's like
Oh, man, that's,
you just like, and like there's nothing
Toy
more
smell.
disappointing than a toy that doesn't smell good.
You smell what the Rock is cooking?
Like a lot of the time, like glow in the dark figures won't have that same smell.
No, that reminds
Like,
me
it's
actually.
disappointing.
That Palpatine hologram that I got, it was like a little stinky.
Yeah.
It was a weird.
Yeah.
In a bad
smell,
way?
but-
Yeah.
Yeah, in a bad way, and it was kind of
Do you,
stinky.
you know what had a
These
great smell to them? The
materials.
X-Men and Spider-Man figures, like from the
Really?
Toy Biz
I
line.
don't remember.
They had a great smell.
Know what's gonna have a great smell? Those rubber figures on the table. If you were to somehow open them up, those are the best smelling figures.
Oh yeah.
I know this is getting really fucking weird now, but
All right.
Oh, they-
Hey,
I'm
man,
just
no,
telling-
You gotta
the
smell your
collector stuff
figures,
I'm
is
just
man,
telling
you
smell
know?
your figures, let them loose,
It's
let
like
them
an
breathe.
industrial rubber or something.
Yeah,
because,
it's so good.
I remember.
I would
because
fuck.
I think I threw one at my brother's head, man.
It would hurt. These toys would hurt somebody.
That's it. He's off now.
That's
That's
it.
it. It's done. That's it. He's dead.
That God is my witness. He's broken in half.
That is my witness. He's broken in half.
That's it. He's dead.
That's it. He's dead.
These are
God bless Jim Ross. And you know what? Shout out to Jim Ross for beating
Yeah,
cancer
absolutely.
and being the fucking man
Absolutely.
in
Still
general.
the man.
And I want to try his barbecue sauce.
You should try his podcast.
We gotta order
JR's
it?
podcast is phenomenal.
Yeah.
JR's podcast.
Yeah.
You should try ours.
JR'sBBQ.com.
Well, you got. I mean, these are all the legends. Sorry, Chris.
Well, I was just gonna say while we're on the topic of these wrestling toys,
Oh God, I know where he's
I
going.
guess it's time to bring up the Royal Rumble. You already know where Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
Joe's
Just
opinion.
tell
I
us how
mean,
you-
not a whole lot to say. I've watched every single Royal Rumble since 1988. I've seen them all. This has to rank among the worst.
Wow. Why?
But do you think it's just because there wasn't really any surprises?
There wasn't any surprises, but the match itself wasn't entertaining. The direction that it was going in, it didn't really have any entrance in there that really gave you that disbelief of wow, maybe they can win it. I don't know. And then just the ending was so sour grapes. There's actually live footage from the crowd online where you can kind of watch the video of when Brock Lesnar enters the ring at number 30. And usually it's either if they're happy, it's crazy. If they're not, they'll boo. It was silent.
See, I love Brock Lesnar.
I do too, but not in that kind of direction.
Didn't stage it well.
It didn't really bode well, and
I didn't expect it. I didn't think.
I didn't expect.
Brock
I
was
didn't
gonna
want
end
it
up in
though.
the Royal
I
Rumble.
really didn't want it. We don't need that to happen.
I think what they're really lacking these days is personalities and story.
Yeah.
Because that's really what got you in,
Well, put the
especially in
fucks
the
on the
80s,
table.
Let me
you know?
push back because I watched also, and
I mean, yeah, the neon spandex and all that stuff is great, but really, it was the energy that these guys were bringing to the
And
performance.
the cocaine and
They were
steroids.
on the mics. They were screaming on the top of their lungs. They were over the top people. They were like real life superheroes.
Right.
And then they fought weekly in the ring,
Right.
and it's like, oh my god, it's like watching, fucking Superman and Bizarro go at it in the fucking ring.
true.
And it's like, holy shit, what's going to happen? And when you're a little kid, you're really absorbing that. And people didn't, little kids didn't put two and two together that it's all been planned ahead. But, people say
Sometimes-
wrestling's fake, and I really hate that term.
I do too.
Because these guys are really putting their bodies on the
Physically
line.
on
And
the
if you
line.
don't believe that, then look at people like Mr. Wonderful and Lex Luger and look at their bodies now and look at their bodies in the 80s and 90s. They put their bodies on the line for our entertainment, whether you want to admit that or not. And a lot of these guys are suffering to this day. I mean, Greg the Hammer Valentine, great guy, but he looks like he's in pain all the time. He looks like he has limited
They're the-
mobility and all that stuff.
It's not
They're
only
they're the gridiron guys,
Oh.
and they helped get the WWE to where it is today. And maybe part of the problem is when you're successful at the time, you're innovating, you're trying new things. Now you have a formula because of your success. And I don't really
Complacency.
watch enough of it to say whether this is right or wrong, but maybe they're just trying to apply previous formulas to today, and it doesn't work. I
And
don't
what
know.
really sold it was that there were different
Do they?
territories back
Again,
in the
I'm a
day, in the
total outsider.
70s, and they were basically cherry picking the best people from all these different
The
territories.
regions, right?
And they were buying them all up, and they were taking
Super
all their
team.
It was like a Vince
superstars.
McMahon move,
It's
right?
it's
To
very
unify.
similar to how Lorne Michaels took all the best people from Second City,
Yeah.
Toronto, and Chicago, and created a TV show.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. He took people from other territories, brought them together, and it's like, oh shit, this guy was unstoppable in this territory, and this guy was unstoppable in
And
this
they're all
territory,
here.
and I can't wait to see what happens because who's the stronger territory then?
Gotcha.
And it really
It had that-
sold because wrestling was
Almost an
a
NFL
big
kind of
pastime.
effect.
I mean, I'm actually a fourth generation wrestling fan. My great grandparents were watching wrestling matches at the places. It's amazing how far back wrestling has been popular. It's just that it reached such heights
Peaks.
because of television and broadcasting and the innovation of
Cable
McMahon
TV,
and
having multiple channels.
having all that stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, all right, I have to go to this event, with the flyers and this and that. It was now they're bringing it to you. So it's the convenience of being able to watch the best of the best in the convenience of your own home.
And
And then
were-
they really
Okay,
sold
hold
that
on. Let me butt
pay-per-view
in
and
here.
stuff.
Chris
How much
watches
of
a
this
lot.
is just being? Yeah, I don't want to be the old guy that says, "Oh, it was better when I was a kid."
Well, it was,
That's
and I'll be
exactly
that
what
old
we're
guy.
becoming.
Well, they really kept the
when it
ball
was-
rolling when they had the Attitude Era, because then they had, all right, well, the old heads are still running the
You know
company,
how
but
many
you got new
hated
people
the
bringing
Attitude
new
Era
stuff.
that were 80s fans that said wrestling is ruined now. Bruno San Martino hated the Attitude Era because it
Of
took
course,
such
because it
a-
was disrespectful to his generation.
Right.
But it was a disrespectful time in the world.
Here's the-
Everybody was
here's the
offending
deal.
everybody, and it was
How far
cool to do that. It was.
Here's the deal: during the '80s, we were younger, and as we're getting older, you had the Attitude Era kind of kick in. So now we're older, we want more edgier content, and they gave it to us. And now we're even older, and they're kind of reverting back to like this PG era, which has been around for years, and we're just
look at the culture of nowadays, man. You know, it's good. If anything, they were ahead of the curve.
Their style of what they like, their entertainment is not akin to what like a wrestling fan wants to watch in 2022.
Yeah.
And AEW is a perfect example because they're beating out Raw.
Oh,
Sometimes
they're not beating Raw. They're not.
Oh,
Their
they're-
ratings. First of all, I also want to mention WWE just had its most profitable quarter of all time. They made I forget how many billions of dollars.
But you also have to realize the value of the dollar today as opposed to the 80s.
Well, no,
you also want to
What was
consider
$100,000 in the
Ratings
80s is
and
$1 million
profitability,
today.
too.
You know what I
AEW
mean?
is just a far more entertaining product. Like, I'm sorry, but it is. Their shows are better. Their pay-per-views actually feel like pay-per-views. WWE's pay-per-views,
which one
like,
do you want to pay for?
Yeah,
Which
do you
one
wanna
are
actually
more
pay-
willing-
If you actually paid for this Royal Rumble, would you feel satisfied for the product you received?
You don't because you have the WWE network. So
Yeah, but what do you-
have Peacock, so it's all included. You
But
don't
you-
have to pay for it. They don't
I
call
wouldn't,
pay-per-views
but I
anymore.
wouldn't. I wouldn't,
They're called
though.
premium live events now.
I wouldn't watch
Oh,
that
is
shit.
what it
I
is?
wouldn't
No,
pay
they're
for that
like
shit.
PPV things?
Look, I
Horrible.
mean, so there's a couple of
Well-
things. We all wanted Lesnar versus Lashley. That happened. I thought it was a pretty good match.
Shit.
It was a decent match. What do you mean?
Suplex,
and Lashley
suplex,
went
suplex,
over in a way.
Well, I called
I
that
didn't
Paul
see this.
Heyman was going to kind of screw Brock. I
And
called
that's
that.
and that's the thing. It's everyone says they don't have long-term storytelling, but they do. They're telling a story of they're telling two stories: Lashley Lesnar, which is something that's always been kind of built up by fans. They have this Roman Lesnar thing is continuing on, obviously into WrestleMania. This is the third time they're having a match. That seems pretty fucking long-term storytelling for me. The thing is, you guys don't watch, so you don't give a fuck. You'll say, "Oh, I hate it," but you also
I
don't
watch.
watch it.
I do watch.
When you
I'm
watch
out.
it, you just said you don't watch it. You said it's unwatchable. I don't watch it.
I mean, I don't sit and watch 3 hours of Raw, but I have Hulu and I just skim through it and watch the shit that I want to watch. So I am up to date on the storylines and what's going on and who's the champions and
Well,
and
and
what
that's
they're
my
doing.
thing is it's not always all day or all episode long entertainment, but there's always a couple of gems in there that make it. Kind
Which
of
is why I skim through it on Hulu.
Yeah,
There's a
I
lot
mean,
of
that's a
crap
good way
back
to
I
watch
cannot
it.
watch a 3-hour episode of Raw. There's no fucking way.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's definitely hard. You know,
I would say, you know what? It's a fact of life where we're not the target audience anymore. I do notice I'm not the biggest wrestling fan, but I do see things like when you see Bad Bunny. I don't know if anybody knows who that is in this room, but he's a international monster,
Right.
Latino hip hop artist.
they even had like
So,
Logan Paul on there. or
The
something, too.
brand is growing, the approachability is growing.
Well,
so
they've
maybe
always had that. They've always had Mike Tyson. They've had
Yeah,
celebrities.
yeah.
They've had huge like stars from outside the world. They had Lawrence.
We also
Taylor
have to
main
realize
event
that they're not
WrestleMania 11.
necessarily writing this stuff for us. I mean, we
That's what
loved
I-
it when we were
that was-
in the 80s and 90s.
Who were they writing
because
it for them?
They were writing it
Males
for us.
kids.
18, males 18 to 39, I believe, is
Which
the
is
target
us.
You wanna-
demographic, which is us.
Well,
Which
you
is
wanna-
a-
but they wanna
but
capture
just to give you an
13
example, look at the table. Look at both of our tables. We're not buying an AJ Styles figure or a Brock Lesnar figure or a Seth Rollins figure.
But kids,
We're buying
kids
Hulk
are.
Hogan. We're buying fucking Macho Man. We're buying
Right,
fucking.
we're buying the shit that we got when we were kids. Kids are buying this shit. I mean, Greg from work, he showed me his kid's toy collection. They've got tons of.
Because he
true,
got his
that's
kid
true.
into that.
These
He got
toys.
his kid into that. Same as my
Right.
nephew. My nephew.
Well, I mean, so what? My brother got me into this. What difference does it make?
Why
It's
aren't
still-
you into the new guys that are there now?
Um,
Why aren't you so vested in them
that's
that you
something-
go out and
Are
and
you
go
going to
out and
say
buy
that
one
like
of
a
the-
character like Seth Rollins is at the same heights as like a Hulk Hogan
Or Macho Man?
Randy Savage?
No way.
You think that they bring the same energy? I mean, granted, he may be technically more skilled in actual wrestling,
more athletic?
But-
Seth Rollins is definitely physically.
but this is
put
also
on crazy
entertainment.
matches.
And if I'm not entertained, they're not doing their job.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair, and that's something I've been trying to figure out: is why is it that like the stars today just don't mean as much to me as they did when I was like a kid?
And that's the only argument I have.
And I
I
think
mean,
it's
they
the-
work
I-
just as hard as the guys in the 80s.
Absolutely.
The thing is, the guys in the '80s obviously had an advantage; that they were able to do steroids.
I'm
These-
fucking
that
jaded,
All, this
that's
all
why.
changed in the '90s when
We're
you had
jaded
this-
old men.
I don't know if
That's
that. I don't know if that's the case because if you look at some of the guys,
part of
Million Dollar Man never had a body. Mick Foley never had a body. I mean, you look at
There
it.
were
Jesus,
certain-
Mick
But if you look at
sacrificed.
Bobby
Didn't wanna
Lashley
put
probably
Mick
has a
Foley on
better
TV.
physique than any wrestler in the
Yeah, he did.
80s.
That's true.
Period.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Bobby
but
Lashley's fucking.
it was really
huge.
the 80s.
And you're gonna tell
that
me
was
he's
the
not on
champion.
steroids? Like
The 80s
he?
was the muscle time because if you went back to the 70s and the 60s, you
No,
had
they
Killer
weren't- they didn't look
Kowalski
like
and
that.
Ivan Putski and guys
Bruno
like that.
Sammartino was a fat Italian guy with a
Well,
belly
well,
and a
I
chest
think
hair.
that's a big part of it. Everybody's too beautiful.
People were
Everybody
monsters
is
and
taller on
ugly, and they
camera.
killed each other
it's all-
back in the day.
That's true.
That's
They
the
use
problem.
filters.
Then you got people
Oh, we
like
need someone who
Ravishing
looks
Rick
good.
Rude and and
then it's are they
There's
talented?
no
and-
distinction between the wrestlers. They all look the same. They all have the same haircuts, the same
Everybody-
abs,
Seth Rollins, Adam
the
Cole,
same
the
fucking
long
tights.
hair.
They all look the same.
Yeah.
They look the same. Their work rate is the
Roman
same. There's
Reigns.
nothing that stands out. They don't have cool finishing moves. They don't have cool gimmicks. They don't have things that
So
you.
here's something I want to say about AEW.
Their merchandising and also their actual trademarking like of these characters aren't as trendy or aren't as you're not going to catch on to. I bought a fucking Steve Austin shirt from 2001. It's a 22-year-old shirt.
Right, but can't we?
I'm not
agree that
buying Seth
any
Rollins'
new-
shirt.
Any
I'm
current
not
day
buy-
shit. You said the same thing about Star Wars. The new Star Wars sucks. Wrestling.
Oh well,
sucks.
hey, we could.
Some
go,
of it
let's go
sucks.
there.
You know, like-
Some of the new Star Wars
yeah.
sucks, but we love Book of Boba Fett. We love Mandalorian. So that's not the case. If you put out good shit, we will enjoy it.
I'm not hating it for the sake of hating it. I'm hating it because I'm not
that
enjoying
is not the
it.
case.
give it an honest
I wanted all of us to purposely get together for the Royal Rumble so we can
So we
enjoy it.
can
We
have
couldn't
a-
because of the snow.
Yeah.
But like I looked forward to it. I'm looking forward to it because I'm a huge fan.
Yep.
But I have to call it like I call it. That fucking show sucked. It sucked and it was disappointing.
I like the
They need to
Roman
get
versus Seth match
criticized.
was good. It had
That
a
was
good
decent
story.
match.
That
It was a
good
decent
He
match.
fucking choked him out.
Absolutely.
You know, so there you go. There was
Decent
something
match.
that
But
was
for a
good.
pay-per-view, it shouldn't just be, oh, well, here was a decent match here and there, and the main event was terrible.
Well, there
like
was-
that's not.
Here's
the
the
Royal Rumble
problem.
wasn't that good.
Here's the problem
Definitely
for you,
wasn't
Chris.
that good.
You're not going to go back in 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 years if you had
Never
kids
rewatch it,
and
no.
show them that Royal Rumble. But you'll show them other
the
stuff. that you
Royal
grew
Rumble
up
from
with.
2000.
We'll rewatch the Royal Rumble from 2000.
Probably.
Before we fucking watch that
I
one.
was there live, yeah. absolutely.
Shit.
Madison
That's
Square
awesome.
Garden.
The Royal
Yeah.
Rumble of 2000.
Also a great game.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just to put a bow on the wrestling thing, you know, actually, no, I wanted to mention something about AEW, all right? People look, and I
here it
like
comes.
Pull
AEW.
that thread.
There's a really popular video right now. It was a big hit where Sammy
It's amazing.
Guevara
Amazing.
jumps off of he
An
jumps
RKO.
onto a ladder,
Springboards
and then gives a
onto the
diamond
ladder.
cutter.
Across the other ladder.
Yeah,
One of the
but here's
greatest
my
moves I've
problem
ever
with that.
seen.
If you look at it, the referee is holding the ladders. Now you could say, "Oh, that's not a big deal," but to me, that takes away some of the legitimacy. Is it better for the safety of the performers that you don't have a ladder rocking back and
That's
forth?
what the referee's
Sure.
there for, though.
No, but that's not something I've ever seen that reveals some of the magic.
If
when you
anything,
have
I've
a
seen people
referee
got pushed
participating in
off
the
of
stunt.
ladders.
Well, it's not. We're not at the point where we have to kayfabe any longer, where we're thinking, "Oh, is that real? Or are they really like?" I mean, to make that
I disagree. You
that
gotta
was one of the
keep
that
some
was one of
magic.
the that was one of the coolest moves I've seen in probably the last 15 years.
It was badass, but I'm
Awesome.
sorry, I have a problem with the referee holding the ladder. I know, like, again, it's better for the safety of everybody that the ladder doesn't tip over, but that's
That's
not
a
a liberty
nitpick.
that the guys
It's a nitpick.
beforehand ever took because you didn't. They're balancing.
Nobody
it to get
before
hurt
ever did anything remotely close to that.
because they didn't have a referee or somebody holding the ladder.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't. I've
Yeah,
never
they did.
seen the ref hold a ladder for anything. Maybe it's happened. Maybe we can find
the
it.
Earl had no
I
hold the
watched
ladder.
Mick Foley get thrown off a 30-foot fucking steel cage with no anything.
God is my witness. He's
Table.
broken in half.
I mean, that to me,
That's it.
yeah,
That's it. He's dead.
Yeah, how did he not? I don't even know. What
it
does your
was the
back
way
look like
like
after that?
they had it planned.
Oh
in a
yeah,
s- but like there's like a way to fall.
Well,
It was a collapsible table. If it wasn't a collapsible table, you would have
The
died.
first
I don't
one
care
was
what the
planned. The
fuck
second
the
one, when he threw him
procedure is,
through
that
the
looked-
cage, no.
That was not
that was
planned.
fucking crazy.
He
When
went
the
through the
ring
fucking
broke,
ring. Yeah.
That was-
That
and then what happened was the chair also fell down
On his
and
face.
Fucking hit his face.
Yeah,
And his
that-
tooth ended up in
knocked
his nose.
Into his nose.
Right.
The clip that everybody sees when JR's like, and he's smiling.
He's trying to.
smiling.
He's licking his tongue
He's
through his
literally
nose.
trying to
You
figure
know,
out.
Yeah.
He's trying to figure
He's
out.
putting his
gone.
tongue through his nose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
my god.
I actually went to go see Mick Foley's one man show, and he talks all about that shit. And he's like, he actually talked about like behind the scenes shit, and the Undertaker's there, and the fucking the referee comes over to him, and he's like, "Go see if he's dead." And then-
Seriously, bro.
and he's, I think when he choke slammed him, his like shoes stayed like on the ground or some shit. Like it was some kind of crazy story with the shoes.
Another one.
But he was-
Shane McMahon.
He
That
put
kid
his body.
fucking-
So when he fought
Third angle.
Kurt Angle,
I don't.
it was
really know.
supposed to be like
Girls
sugar
with a glass.
glass,
Yeah.
and it was not. And they fucking went through real glass.
Multiple
Well, they did it
times.
twice. They
Multiple
tried it
times.
once. Oh, sorry.
What happened was they painted the glass with like an acrylic type of thing, apparently to keep it from from exploding when the pyros go off. You know, the big
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
explosions.
booms. Yeah.
So to keep it from exploding, they like painted it with something that pretty much like just made it a solid wall. And yeah, he didn't go through. He fell on his head.
He always looked like he was trying to live up to the legacy of like what the WWF
Shane has
was.
done some crazy fucking stunts.
Now he's gone now.
Well,
And he got fired or some
let's talk
shit,
about
right?
that. Yeah. So apparently, with the Royal
I don't
Rumble,
know how I know this shit.
something happened where Shane wanted to come back and he wanted to come up looking strong, and apparently he kind of fucked up some of the other plans. And I don't know that I'm not gonna spread information that I don't really know to be true. But
The
what they're
boss's
saying
son can be
online-
fired. Nobody's job's safe.
It's true.
Well, Triple H and him don't have a good thing, right? I mean, I don't. I'm kind of speculating because I don't know shit.
They don't really ever we don't know, it's all internet speculation, but
And you don't know
Triple H had a
where
heart
the
attack.
kayfabe ends and all that stuff begins.
Oh,
but
yeah,
apparently
where the
Shane McMahon is
narrative.
gone from the WWE. So
It's going to
That's
AEW
wild.
then.
That would be
Imagine.
hilarious.
That would be a
Weird.
complete
No,
betrayal
I
to
mean,
the family.
it doesn't it bolster both businesses anyway? Because you create that drama, you get that trend, you get that whole. Oh, now the WWE's looking.
Now
Up.
the
AEW
McMahons are
is,
making
is
money off of
nipping
both
right now.
companies.
They're getting closer and closer to
You need that.
really
That's
being-
smart.
Ratings are going
That's just
down.
smart.
the ratings are going
not
down.
going down. Ticket sales are going up. Their merchandising is going up.
Ticket
Everything.
sales don't amount to that much money being made. Their ratings are going down. Apparently, that's
Tell
what
that to
I read
fucking
today.
artists who tour.
The reason their ratings are
Oh,
going
for-
down is
for
because no
wrestling,
one
it's
watches
not.
network television anymore. No one waits on a
No,
Wednesday
God,
at
no.
8 o'clock to sit and watch something.
Can't.
No one sit and watches
Gotta
on a
work.
Friday
Sorry.
at 9 o'clock. Like, no one does that anymore. So,
Gotta be streamable. whenever you
yeah,
wanna
it's just
watch
a
it.
different world. Like, in the 90s, during the Attitude Era, we had cable. You had USA, you had TNT. That was it. That was must-see TV. You had Monday Night Football on Monday night. So it was destination TV to sit on the couch with your buddies on Monday, get together, have some pizzas, some wings, and watch professional wrestling. It's not like that anymore. First of all, people don't fucking hang out together in the same fucking household
It's
anymore.
true. This is the most I see people.
This is
pretty
the most
much,
we've
like,
seen
all
each other,
week.
like,
Otherwise, I'm online.
to do this. Yeah, we're online playing fucking video games against each other. So
Yep.
I think the way that the broadcast comes off and the channel of where they're trying to get their viewers needs to be adjusted to fit in with the times.
That makes
It's only a
sense.
matter of time before like Raw and SmackDown fit or fill up their contracts with USA or Fox, and it's just on a
Start
streaming
shopping around
platform.
from there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say why I think wrestling is so much different now versus when it was then is that it looks too pretty. It's way too produced. It looks so crisp and clear and HD that you could tell you're watching a production. Like, I liked Raw because it was like it was really static and it was like a little dark and dingy. Yeah, there was like a grit to it.
Yeah.
It was raw, literally.
Yeah,
You had
Like,
cameras now, like the
Yeah.
cameras are so steady,
Yeah.
and everybody's so beautiful and polished. They
Yeah.
don't have ugly people.
They all wear makeup and they're all
If you
dolled
look at Hulk
up. And,
Hogan or Stone Cold, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's women love them too. I'm sure their heads in
Yeah,
their
right,
own way,
right.
but those guys by today's standard wouldn't be considered like beautiful, handsome men.
it might not have
They're
been picked to
strong,
make it.
like,
Right.
but just even some of the other guys you mentioned before, like they had like fat bodies or hairy bodies or just I want
Yeah.
ugly people.
George
Where are
Animal
the
Steel.
ugly
Yeah.
people?
That's a good
You know,
point.
everybody's too beautiful and
Yeah.
everything is too crisp and clear. Like I
They
wish it
added
was-
the fake camera shake, like when I did see that. I don't know, a few years ago when like a body would hit the mat, they would create a visual shake in the camera to try to add momentum to
Like
what
a
was
feeling
going
of
on, and it was
impact.
like that was stupid.
yeah.
They used to just have the handheld camera, and the cameraman was running around
Makes
like
me
a crazy
think of
man.
what I just watched recently was the first gameplay footage of the WWE 2K22 video game, which actually it looks really good.
Looks cool. I did see a couple clips.
I'm definitely gonna pick that up. I'm gonna get the NWO version because I gotta have all Nash, Hogan, in 6-pack. So I'm looking forward to that. So I think that wraps up, professional wrestling talk. I'm really glad we finally got to talk
That was
pro
cool.
wrestling because we've been thinking.
Talk more about it.
We've been kind of manifesting, talking about it on the podcast
Toy
since we
hunts.
started it. We've been doing
Me too.
tons of toy hunts, getting tons of wrestling figures, and we didn't really have any kind of section of our podcast dedicated to
Had
professional
to break
wrestling.
out the JR hat and the glasses.
Oh, I love
Looking
it.
good.
I love it. And
Looking good.
he's got an awesome T-shirt on, the cream of the crop picture with the
Yep,
cream of the
yep,
crop
that's it.
figure.
That's it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll revisit this as we get closer.
Absolutely. We have
too.
WrestleMania coming up. There's some big events coming up, so definitely going to be more wrestling to come for sure.
Speaking
Well,
of cowboy hat wearing
Oh yeah.
winners.
There you go. Here we go.
Let's do
Here
a
we go.
transfer. So we're trading in the glasses. JR going to Robbie 1 Filoni.
Yeah. What?
How about that book of Boba Fett?
Oh, dude.
How about that book of Boba
Book of Mando, book of
Book of Mando.
Bounty
Just,
Hunters.
Fett? Book of Luke, book of all these
Yeah,
guys.
let's go. Spoiler alert. Let's go.
Spoilers.
Yeah, if you
Fuck
didn't watch it,
if by
go
the time
home.
we post this
Too
shit,
bad,
if you
too
haven't
bad.
seen it, it's your own fucking fault.
Yeah, the finale will be out by then.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait.
But my God, what a show!
So-
Top tier. It's the best Star Wars since Return of the Jedi,
Oh, God.
hands down.
I mean, yeah,
All these shows, I'm considering this to be a continuation of Mandalorian.
It is
100%.
Really
It's
is.
all the same timeline,
It
same
really
characters, same story.
which is great. Which is really great.
1,000,000%. It started off. There was a couple of, I don't know, scenes, episodes that were a little so-so. I love all of the, of course, informing of where Boba was during
Flashbacks.
this time, and all that. And then kind of the current stuff. He was trying to recruit, and then he ends up recruiting the biker gang, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't, whatever.
Like Cyberpunk,
Gotta-
Star Wars.
Yeah, they're not on.
I have a
somebody
feeling
has
it's
a
going to be
Ripper
more
down.
like Boba getting his bearings, but I think by the end of this season, we're going to see like full-fledged fucking Boba Fett.
Yeah, I'm expecting the finale to really.
Because you got to figure, like the first few episodes, he's still healing in the back of the
Setting the
tank.
table.
He's having flashbacks of like the traumatic shit that he went through, climbing out of a fucking angry sand vagina, and then being kidnapped by his people, and then they died. So,
But
like,
in-
he's,
in these,
he's had a lot going on.
That's
Boba.
it. They're dead.
In these last two, it's been primarily Mando. We're seeing the Mandalorian. What
Love
he's
it.
been
Love it,
doing
love it.
in the meantime. In the previous episode, I loved some of the stuff they were doing, like in space. So when he was on basically the Halo ring, that was
Really was the
it was
Halo ring,
basically
yeah.
Definitely was a Halo ring.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
definitely.
so
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's immediately what I thought too.
Everything kind of informs.
And I
each
love
other.
how, like, if you look at the ring, like they have the reflections of light, so there are sections of it that are in nighttime.
shadow.
Yeah.
That's
and
what I was
some
gonna
of them are in
say.
light. Yeah.
It gives that was it Empire
Planetary.
Strikes Back or when with the old school, the cruiser coming overhead and the shadow it casts, and they're doing all those effects, a lot of those effects, like in real time. They'll build the sound stage and what Mando's standing in, and then in the background is actually screens.
And even the other episode that they had when they first introduced the Mando back into this new series, it's the longest single cut they've done yet.
Shit,
Where
really.
he's walking through all the stuff, limping, with his, and then he gets into the elevator, and basically what they're doing is like a 180 kind of thing, and like doing the whole, redoing
Rotating
the whole
to another set,
studio, and then
yeah.
creating the new set. But it was all a single shot of like over 2 minutes of him just
the tech
making
is
his way
cool.
through that city in
But-
one room. Like, it's insane, the technology that they have. Bryce Dallas Howard did a really good job.
She's great.
Dave Filoni, I mean, Obi-Wan
now-
Filoni
yeah.
clearly is the only
Talk
hope.
about that CG
He's-
from Luke Skywalker. How amazing that looked.
I
Deep-
heard that they
they're using-
hired the guy from
They
like
did.
Deepfake because he
So-
did such a stellar job. Like I wonder now. This
Go
begs
ahead.
the question: are they going to go back now and fix the last episode of the Mandalorian with
could
the
see
current
that.
technology? They
That's
have?
how
I
that-
didn't think it looked bad.
I mean,
It
they're
was-
no, it looked a little off, and you
It
can
was.
tell.
It didn't look bad, but this blew it out of the water. This
It was
amazing.
better than Carrie Fisher in Rogue One. I'll say that.
Definitely.
But-
No, that was terrible. I mean, not terrible.
It
but
wasn't terrible because of her short role in the movie. It worked for what it was. I thought Grand Moff Tarkin actually looked a lot better.
Tarkin looked great. Yeah.
Those were good, but now we're on to, you could see in the behind the scenes of the finale of season 1, they had one of their guys basically locked in a room trying to make this thing happen with Mark Hamill's face. And the guy who was doing this was playing with deepfake. Deepfake is an open source software that's out on the internet. And you see a lot of people play with it.
Yeah.
And, it's potentially nefarious, whatever. But he was playing with it, but I don't know if Disney, whoever made the choice, they decided to go with the technology they used before. They didn't want to risk using the new tech without really having a good grasp for it. Probably didn't have the time either. But because that guy, that YouTuber, used deepfake to fix the Mando season 1 finale, Disney reached out and hired him point blank.
Yeah.
Now you see that deepfake technology applied to this latest episode with Luke, and I wish
Looks great.
I hope we get another wrap up of the season. Like,
Imagine if we get Han Solo.
oh my God,
God.
dude! Hey, that would be
I
incredible.
want Han
Another-
Solo because he fits in this. He's
Yeah.
a
Boba.
space cowboy.
It's Boba.
This is a fucking space western.
Yeah, a
It's
million
Boba.
percent.
I would love to
Harrison
see
Ford,
Chewbacca and
deepfake.
Black Kirstan have a fucking duke out again
You know
because they
the-
fought in the comics and they fought to a standstill. They're both as strong as each other.
Another interesting technological innovation that I noticed was the puppeteering of Grogu. because in season 1 he's pretty static or he's walking. You know, there's
Yeah, they had him
limited.
like doing splits
Now
and
he's-
shit on this one.
Yeah,
kicks
he's
and-
doing like.
But it still
balancing
feels
act.
real. They didn't
Exactly.
cop out for what they did with Yoda, making him completely CG so he
Oh.
could
They
leap
stuck
around
to
like
the
a bean.
puppet. They
It
stuck
was
to the
like-
real. I think they're really obviously attached to that Grogu doll.
Fucking
So-
love that doll.
Oh,
That doll
oh
is
man,
money.
that thing's incredible. He's
Cash.
So
Yeah.
I kind of thought when he was like walking around, it kind of looked too much like a puppet.
I would like to see.
I mean,
the
he's got
change.
legs that are about this long, and
Sure,
you know,
I
it's
mean,
got this. He's stunted in this way. I thought it was funny that Luke is leapfrogging him along while
Yep,
they're
with
talking.
the force. Adorable.
But I
The
mean, the
backpack,
tie-ins.
come on.
Yeah, there's so
Oh,
many.
the backpack scene running through the woods was
If you can send chills
Amazing.
down the audience spines with these moments and these throwbacks and these callbacks to the originals, you know, you're really doing something. Like you're really making an impact on the crowd. It shows why those other movies fucking suck. I'm sorry, Chris. It just
suck.
you didn't feel that this same way when you watch those, and that's the difference between greatness and mediocrity. Like they just pumped out those movies to make them happen. Now we're moving on to something that is made by somebody who really cares the way that we care, and even
It's
more.
about making a better Star Wars story, not
Yes.
how can I make my mark on Star
And that's
Yes,
the thing.
thank
I
you,
think
yes.
that's what they really captured is that the original Star Wars is a story about people.
Yes.
It's a people-driven story, and when you make it heavy about the politics or the technology or this and that, that's where you lose that connection where people can't get absorbed.
No,
That's
can't
what
relate
made
to
it
it.
naturally great is that I care about what happens to
Yeah.
Luke and Leia and Han and Chewie because they grow on you. You see their personalities shine.
Yes.
And I think that's why people love Mandalorian because he's not perfect. He's not, but he's badass.
Yes.
And he'll kick your ass and he'll keep fighting. He'll keep getting up. And that's why people connect with him. And Grogu is just familiar enough, even though he's new, he's familiar enough to really tie you into the Star Wars universe. And it's intriguing because Yoda's species was always a very taboo subject that George was very, very clear about not delving into. He never wanted their home world to be revealed or what the name of the alien race is.
Very interesting.
And it's very interesting to see them delve more into that story. And it's the practical effects. It's being written by somebody who truly loves the source material, but not only loves it, but has worked hand in hand with the original creator for decades on the story.
Absolutely.
So that's where I think The Mandalorian finds its real success is in these character stories. And I think why they're saying that the beginning of this Boba Fett show is not great is because we don't know anything about Boba Fett. And finding out the reality of
informed-
people is a little disappointing because he had this mysterious aura about him. He's the only one out of all of these bounty hunters that were hired by the Empire to find and track down Han Solo. And as good as Han is about getting out of shit, Boba Fett was always on the fucking task.
better.
And he was pivotal in the reason why they fucking lost in Empire Strikes Back.
And
so it's interesting to see now he's a humanized character.
Yeah, he's more. I guess he's more real. That's a good point. The other thing too is you're combating expanded universe content. You know, obviously really cool stories about Boba Fett and what he was doing in between. I guess in
They're
the
integrating
expanded
a lot of it.
in the expanded universe, it was said that Boba got out of the Sarlacc pit, went on to continue his bounty hunting and shit. So I'm sure that affects a lot of the audience. I'm not as affected because I don't know those stories, but I do think, you could do cooler things with Boba.
I think it's coming. I think
so,
I
too.
think we have time.
I think there's going to be a big
I think
payoff
he's
at
going
the
to be
end
in
of this
Mando.
season.
I don't think this is just the end of Boba next episode. I just think
Well, I
they're
mean,
infusing these stories.
It's like they're building their
Look at that
clan,
villain
they're
that
building
they
their
made.
crew, they're building their mafioso type.
Yes, that's why I
who's
call
the
it Book of
spice
Bounty
guy at
Hunters.
the end? We gotta talk
Cad
about
Bane.
that.
Cad,
So that's
oh my
Cad
God.
Bane. He's a
Guy was
he's
a
a notorious
cold
bounty
Biggest
hunter.
Star Wars fan here. Who's Cad Bane? Please
So he was
watch Clone
introduced
Wars
in the
and
Clone
Rebels.
Wars series, and he's a fucking
Half-
problem.
Dave Filoni. I
I
caught
hated the animation, like the look of the like.
in Clone Wars.
You get over
It evolves.
quickly,
It gets
though.
better.
Yeah, it's
I think the other thing too with those first seasons of Clone Wars and also Rebels was they're a little adolescent. They were just a little
Yeah.
bit too kiddie.
By the time you get to
But
like season 3 or 4,
two-
that's
Rebels kicks off in 2 for me because Vader
Rebels,
appears.
yes.
You're right about Clone Wars.
Clone
It's
Wars.
definitely 2 into 2.
Younger
Because you know what it
audience.
is?
But
It's a young Ahsoka.
Yeah.
She's kind of bratty.
Oh yeah.
And Anakin's young enough where like he's not experienced on the battlefield. He's struggling to teach her.
Well, a lot
It's
of
like
those
where are they going with
shows-
the story? You
And
know?
with a lot of those shows is they kind of age with the audience. It's like look at Harry Potter. The first Harry Potter was
Immature
like,
over time.
childish.
And case in
whatnot.
point,
But then as you get older, it gets more dark and like adult. So I like
Clone
how it
Wars
kinda
is
ages.
considered one of the greatest Star Wars series of all time, and it didn't start excellent, but it ended on an extremely high note. So that's why I have hope for this Boba Fett show. Yeah, it's going to start a little slow.
People
and I
are-
really didn't mind these episodes that
didn't.
everybody's
People-
been minding.
I liked
My
Boba Fett.
dad has loved Boba Fett since he first saw Boba Fett years and years ago. He was the original Star Wars fan of the family. My brother was born in 1978. My parents saw the movie in 77, and he ran out and bought the toys in 78 before my brother was born. And he loves that character, and he found super satisfaction in this series, specifically because he's huge into cowboys and westerns and stuff.
I love
That's
And
what
this
this
is a very western feel to this show. I mean, when Cad Bane walks into that scene, it's like Lee Van Cleef right out of Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah. Oh
It
yeah,
really
dude.
is.
All of that tension, that build.
Oh, actually,
So classic Western. Sorry, so you didn't know who
speaking
Cat
of
Bane.
westerns, though, they actually have I forget the name of the actor. He's the guy from well, there's two
from
guys
Deadwood
I'm
and
not just talking
Justified.
about the sheriff, the alien bartender guy that was like, we don't want any of this. Who ended up like taking care of the sheriff after he was shot.
Yeah.
He's Dan. He was Dan from
That's right, from Deadwood. That's right.
Yeah,
and
he's
I'm
like his right hand.
my question about that is that Hondo, because he looks like the same species as Hondo, and Hondo in
I
Clone
believe
Wars is
I
a
believe they're
pirate.
called Nikto.
Okay.
Because there's 3 different aliens that work for Jabba, and the 3 words are Klaatu Barada Nikto, which, funny enough, is the spell that Ash says in the Necronomicon in the Evil Dead movies. But yeah, Klaatu Barada and Nikto were 3 alien races that work for Jabba, and those are the Nikto people.
I was thinking back to what you said about potentially seeing Han Solo, and there's a lot of
If they can make Luke young, they can make Han young.
I don't even. It's not a technological thing. I think it's it's like
Reality?
we've talked about the reality of Harrison Ford not loving the character, wanting to move on, whatever
Having
the
him
history
do
is.
having him
but-
do the voice for it.
Solo from the movies.
No, you don't do that. Not when you've already
You
established. this
cannot have a
precedent.
Mark Hamill like CGI and,
And
then
then a
put
f-
him like
Next-
no.
So, but
That's fair.
to the point that how do you get Harrison Ford involved? First, of course, similar to what happened with Mark Hamill, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau flew out to Mark to really present what they were thinking and get his approval and investment, basically. And I think maybe with Filoni, maybe with Favreau, but more than anything with Mark Hamill, if you can get Mark Hamill to reach out to Harrison Ford and maybe talk about what they want to do for the character and what it'll do for the story, maybe they can sell him on it. And they did, allegedly they did, and I'd hate to be spoiling it for anybody,
Whose
but
voice is it? Is it Mark Hamill's voice?
It is.
it's a
Absolutely.
They
digitized,
digitally made his voice
young.
like younger.
Okay, I was wondering that.
But also some other thoughts about the episode, I guess more specifically to what happened, is Luke presents Grogu with a choice. Choose the male, the Beskar male, or choose Yoda's lightsaber. I have another question about Yoda's lightsaber after this, but that choice of do you want to become a Jedi or do you want to go save your friends sounds very familiar. I don't know if you guys
Oh yeah,
know
it
what I
rhymes
mean?
because that's basically Cloud City, and
it's kind of like Luke went through the same sort of thing, and I don't know if it's not a false choice or is he presenting Grogu with no option. It just sounds kind of hard-nosed to be like, well, I won't train you if you decide to go do this. And I'm just wondering if maybe he's playing like a longer game.
I think the reasoning for that is he wants to make sure that his heart isn't in it all the way.
That's a good point.
Because during
he's
that
noticing
episode,
that
he
he's
was
very
training
distracted.
him and he was distracted.
He's elsewhere.
He's elsewhere, so he wants to make sure. Hey, if we're gonna do this, like I'm here for you. I'm gonna train you. You're gonna be my first student, but I need you to commit to it. I think that's kind of the vibe that I got.
And it was fair because he did present him all of his options. It wasn't like he hid the gift from the Mandalorian from him or tried to bullshit him and say he wasn't here.
No,
Luke did the right thing. It's just that I wish he could have both.
I almost anticipate like him
Nice
choosing like
outfit
the
and the
chainmail, and then we don't really get any more of Luke. And to your point about like Han, I almost feel like it's necessary to tell the next phase of Boba Fett's story, and you have to kind of somehow infuse Han Solo, because how we got to the start of this Boba Fett story was through Luke going into Jabba's palace, rescuing, Leia, Han, who was, in the cage and stuff like that. So it's super important for him to kind of
brings it full
flesh that
circle.
out and bring it full circle. So I think potentially we could see that.
It would be
blow my
wild to
mind.
see Luke back on Tatooine for the first time since Return
Well,
of the Jedi.
when we think about Tatooine, who else is on Tatooine that has an upcoming show possibly?
Well, Obi-Wan's definitely going to have one, and Black Hassan is actually probably going to be on that show, because in the comic books he actually fights Obi-Wan, and that's how he gets the scar on his eye.
If I had to put money on it, I would say we would see an Obi-Wan cameo at some point.
In
Obi-Wan's
which
dead already by Mando's timeline.
Yeah, Mando happens like 5
that's the
years
thing.
after Return of the Jedi.
Oh, that's right. Obi-Wan is a
it's sometimes hard
Force
to
ghost at
remember.
this point. Yeah, he's a Force ghost.
Now, it would
That's
be
right.
interesting in the Obi-Wan show if we're going to see like a
Him-
Force ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn.
That's
Because that
Now
was
we're
the
jumping the gun all the way.
Well,
out.
that
Oh,
was
yeah,
the
I'm
training,
happy.
because Yoda
Yeah.
says at
Liam
the end
Neeson
of
back?
Revenge of the
Oh,
Sith
come on.
Yeah.
that I have training from an old friend.
I was thinking about
Yeah.
Yoda talking to Grogu if his training is completed, or I was,
Well, that's
all
the things
those
that
little-
we won't get if he doesn't choose a lightsaber, which is like it really will be disappointing.
It's true. One of the most impactful lines or just conversations to me was Ahsoka and Luke. 'Cause that to me, been thinking about that for a long time,
It's the very first time we've ever seen those characters together.
and just what Ahsoka growing up with Anakin, being a kid and growing up and seeing him become Darth Vader, and then battling him, and then Luke being able to tell the other side to her, to say what he did and how he brought him back. And it's just, I would love to see more of that. We're not really, you kind of have to think what those conversations would look like.
She's
but
getting her own
just-
series, right?
she
Yeah.
is. But
Yeah.
when she said you're so much like your father, it was like, oh, Dave Filoni knows how to pull those
Heartstrings,
strings,
yeah.
because it pulls his. It's definitely what
100%.
motivates
He's a
him.
fan,
so
and he's also a creator that worked with the creator. So
it's great.
he knows
to
the
know.
intricacies. He respects George Lucas's wishes, but he also goes his own way too. Because there's things that, like, he didn't like the name Grogu. George Lucas, apparently, when they
That's
first
funny.
told him the name, he was like, "I didn't like the name," and they were like, "What would you name him?" And he came up with some name, and they actually named one of the Mandalorians that was part of the little pack there
Oh,
after
okay.
what George Lucas would have named Grogu.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which was that?
Interesting,
Which
right?
was what?
I forget. It's like something that I think it starts with an A.
What, back the flying ones, the Mandos who were like flying all around?
I
and
believe
shit?
it was either one of them or yeah. I believe so.
You know what amazes
cool
me
that-
is that you're able to grow so attached to a character like Boba Fett or the Mandalorian, and you don't even see their face. But like exactly, like it'll just be a subtle movement of the head or something, or how they say something, or how their head turns. Like
Apparently,
Well, that's straight
one
from
of-
original Boba Fett when he's like does the nod in
Yeah,
Jabba's
yeah.
palace
That
and
was
stuff.
one of Pedro Pascal's like initial concerns with the character was like, I can't act. Like they're not gonna see my face. All these. When do I take the helmet off? You never do. You're not supposed to for such and such reason. He ended up, whether by negotiation or whatever, like making that happen and getting his face shown. But it's interesting that you kind of have to learn a different way to act. You have to be more. All the subtle movements mean more when they can't see your face.
And he keeps that, like, his acting is like top tier for the show, because even in the episode where he has to take his helmet off in the
Yeah.
Imperial encampment, the way he turns his head
Yeah.
is like, because he doesn't have peripheral vision
Yeah.
in that, because he could just kind of like look this way and that way, but he's actually reacting as if he had his helmet on.
Now, what was it that they said he has to do? He has to like purify himself in the lakes of Minnetonka or something.
Yeah, he's got to go to the
So
waters.
so basically,
the mines
there's
of
these
Mandalore,
mystic waters that are underneath the mines of Mandalore,
where the Beskar
and
come from.
unfortunately, the mines of Mandalore are fucking collapsed. But I'm
Destroyed.
sure that there's got to be parts that are accessible,
They
and he's probably gonna go there.
they showed it too. They nuked Mandalore, right?
Yeah,
Like
no,
the
they
Empire
fucked it. They
just
completely.
blasted
So
the
we're
whole
gonna
planet.
probably have to wait for that.
They stole all the
That's gonna
best
be a
car
Mando
from the
season.
planet.
Mando
Is really
season
what they did.
3.
Yeah.
That
And that's why there's all those Imperial ingots of the Beskar, because they basically stripped the planet of everything that they needed. And that's how like the Death Star was built, was they just, they mined and stripped multiple planets to get that thing built. And then they did it again with the second Death Star, and then they lost.
it's more evidence that Star Wars is in good hands.
And it's
I think that
interesting
makes
because
fans
if he
feel
goes
better.
back to Mandalore and there are still Mandalorians there, he's the wielder of the Darksaber. So are they going to just accept him as the leader? Is it going to become this conflict? Is he
So-
going to unite the Mandalorians? It's great.
That's interesting too, because Clone Wars and Rebels also informs you a lot about Mandalore, the relationships of Obi-Wan and like his like girlfriend or what could have been girlfriend. Why did Filoni choose to do a show called The Mandalorian? It's not out of nowhere. If you watch those two series, it will help and really inform why this was chosen, where it could potentially be going, and why the Darksaber is so important in the world of,
It'd be insane if he just becomes Mandalore and they change the name of the show to Mandalore.
I'm just excited that we have probably maybe 5 or 6 episodes left. So there's a lot of different directions that they can kind of go into.
Wait, this I'm sorry, isn't this a 6-episode series?
I don't think so.
Hope not.
Hold on.
better
There's
not
one
be.
left. There can't be
Hold
one
on.
left.
I'm sorry, because I know that's what
really
it is
hope
for
not.
Could be
Obi-Wan.
8.
No, there's got to be at least 8 to 10. There's no way that they're doing 6.
They're probably not going to do 10. They're never that kind.
8. Regardless of the fact, I think that it would be cool to see
episodes.
cameos from Han Solo or
6?
whoever.
Oh, shit.
Really?
So the next
on,
episode's
let
the
me
last
see.
episode.
No, there's 2 more.
Let me see.
Wait, there's only 4 out right now? I can't remember. I don't know.
So
I'd have to
I
look
mean,
at the
I mean,
DVR.
they touch upon it, but the creator of the Darksaber was both a Jedi and
Mandalorian. Yeah.
And that's where it makes me think too about Luke saying you have to choose either pretty much be a Mandalorian or be a Jedi. And yet, I mean, do you? Because the creator of the Darksaber was both. Does maybe, when she's saying like, "Oh, you're fighting against the Darksaber," is maybe an element in controlling the Darksaber? Does it require some
it's-
sort of mastery of the
well,
not mastery?
When
but
you have a lightsaber is a kyber crystal, and a
What is it
kyber
then?
crystal is like basically living through the Force.
right.
So this reads that
So I'm
there'll
sure
be,
that there's some kind of similar thing in the dark saber.
Which could mean it's possible that Din Djarin is kind of maybe in a way experiencing the Force.
There's a weight. There's a
controlling the-
weight to the blade, and
Yeah, the dark
unless he
saber.
works with it, he has to connect.
he's
with
fighting
it.
the Force.
Just
actually.
like
he's like fighting against
A
it.
Sith's lightsaber is red because they take a kyber crystal and they pour all of their hatred and anger into it, and they basically break and make the crystal bleed, and that's why it has the red beam. That's why all Sith have red.
So we've had
beams.
6 episodes.
They have to
so far.
corrupt the
Wow.
kyber crystals.
6 episodes so far. The 7th episode is supposed to be the last. The last episode will reportedly air February 9th.
That's it. One more episode.
And that's again,
Wow.
I think this
That's
just
disappointing.
this is just an offshoot to Mandalorian, so
Yeah.
kind of got to lump everything together.
Yeah, I guess Mando will probably be more of a 10 episode
We'll
thing.
probably get 8 to 10. And
All that being said, I hope during this last episode that we see, what we talked about, and some of the other bounty hunters like Bosk and Dengar and IG-88.
love C-88. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get that, but
All the ones from like
Empire Strikes Back.
from Empire.
Yeah, because
that's
in
what
the
I'm thinking.
comics, they actually repair IG-88 in one of the
Yes.
most recent comics, and now he has his own title. This
Oh,
guy
88, what
repairs
happened to 88? He
IG-88,
blew
and then
up
he immediately
in the
kills him.
lava. Didn't IG-88 die in the lava though?
No, that's IG-11.
Oh, okay. sorry.
IG-11 was the one that died in the lava.
Gotcha.
Different IG unit. IG-88's a bounty hunter. The other one was a bounty hunter too, but he got reprogrammed by Nick Nolte over there. I have spoken.
I think at this point too, Filoni's proven it time again. The next project, the next thing, they got to give this guy a movie. You know, right now they're
Give him a saga, fuck a movie. You want all
well,
saga.
yeah, I mean, give him 3, but I'm sure him and Favreau will probably work on something together. But right now, you think they're giving whatever 100 million. Disney's giving 100 million plus to 10 episodes. 10 hours of content, which is awesome. I can only imagine what Filoni and Favreau will do with 100 million plus on a 2-hour.
Imagine if Filoni made like a Knights of the Old Republic movie.
Speaking of like giving money and acquiring and dumping money, segue right into our next topic. The Bungie acquisition is complete.
You probably
now.
have the most to say about it. What's your opinion? Because you love Destiny. I
don't want to buy a PlayStation 5 just to play Destiny, which is going to suck. But I mean, you're kind of forcing the audience to and they also came out on record saying, "Hey, it's going to remain, independent. It's going to remain multi-platform."
Well, this is probably going to be the warning to Xbox. Like, all right, well, if you're going to make your stuff exclusive, then we have companies that we're going to make exclusive.
That's kind of where I was going. Like, I don't think these companies like Microsoft and Sony are spending billions of dollars to not be exclusive. So I think they're kind of stacking the deck. They're ready to go to war. Like, they're sitting and they're saying on social media, "Oh, we're playing nice. We're gonna
multi-platform.
Hold hands.
You could be on
we're
PC and
Because
Xbox.
look at like Netflix and Hulu. They're like, "Fuck you, buy both." Then.
Second, Sony announces like a Destiny 3 exclusive this to PlayStation.
No Destiny 3.
You'll never get another Call of Duty game on Sony's platform ever again.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's happening here is, well, first, it's not a direct response to the Activision purchase, because as they came out and said,
although
like,
they say that,
Like a week or
they
two.
say
they
that.
said this shit
Moves
this
like
shit.
that,
Yeah, but you can't
it's so
fucking
long.
sign a check for $8 billion tomorrow. You have
I
to,
can't. No, I
you have to
can't.
talk. And Bungie and
Sure.
Bungie and Sony's relationship has been pretty close since the launch of Destiny 1. Obviously, Bungie had a previous relationship with Microsoft, which makes this even more of a funny acquisition.
Yeah, they're dating their ex-girlfriend now.
Yeah, it's definitely the it has you could write all these narratives to it,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, what are they doing? They're building services now. You can tell this is now the battle of the subscription services.
Yeah.
PlayStation hasn't jumped in the ring yet. Of
What else
course,
does Bungie have right now besides this? I know I'm sure
an amazing development team, probably the best people. Destiny still is technologically the best first-person shooter on the market.
It's one right now. They have
You know what I'm saying?
Series and a studio, right? They have Destiny and then their studio. Whereas when you look at the Activision,
It's a
they have
completely
two-
different. Completely different.
It's not. It's
Well, that's
not
why
meant to
one
be,
was
it's
70
not
billion
meant-
and the other was 7 billion.
It's not meant to be
Yeah.
a shot for shot. Hey, I'll nuke you. You nuke
It's going to
me.
be though.
It's
'Cause
and who
they
else
said
is
that
out
they're-
there?
They said it's not stopping that though.
Ubisoft. Fucking. There's
Sony
like
came out and said there's going to be
Take-Two.
more. We're not done yet.
Oh, Sony said, yeah, we have acquisitions to go. I've
So-
heard Take-Two thrown around for, potentially the acquisition of Rockstar.
That'll
and,
take
and
a
the
lot
2K
more than
series.
70 billion to get Rockstar and
Well,
Take-Two
Take-Two
and
is like
everything.
I don't even know. It's probably $100 billion company plus. But again, this battle that they're fighting. The question I asked.
I'm just
at the
not
end of
buying
the
the
day,
bullshit of
is
that
it
we're going to play
good?
together.
Is it good for gamers? That's the question at the end of the day. Does it give access to more? The only thing I think that's good is what I experienced with Xbox and my PC was I had access to Xbox games on my computer, and I didn't need to go buy an Xbox. People I know, friends, family, went and bought Xbox Series X to play Halo, period. End of sentence.
Yeah.
And potentially play the future games that
Right.
aren't out yet, Elder Scrolls 6, so on and so
Right.
forth. And I was like, well, that kind of blows, I mean, that's the flip side of the coin is they're having the negative effect. And, now that I'm on PC and Sony brought God of War to PC and Microsoft's pushing Sony to do these things, that's great. But
So does it affect the gamer? Not if the gamers have multiple consoles.
most do,
which
in my opinion.
a lot don't.
I don't-
Like, believe
I
it or
don't
not,
believe
a lot
that-
don't.
I don't have both. I don't have both next gen
But if you
systems.
had both consoles, like, do you play them both?
I mean, again, you see me. I'm not on my PC right now, kind of because of where it is.
You're
It's in my-
shifting. You're shifting.
it's in my
Maybe this
basement.
couple of months I'm on a PlayStation. This couple, but like there are like,
I like the option.
it's nice, but it's also fucking expensive.
It's pricey. No,
$2,000.
absolutely.
But you also
between
have
those
to
two
realize that
consoles.
the healthy competition is good for the gamer at the end of the day, because if Sony and Microsoft didn't have each other to keep each other in check, then they would just be putting out lackluster shit.
I don't have
If one of them, if because I've been through both of these.
You don't
things.
want just one to win.
I had PS2, and then I switched to Xbox, and then 360 was so dominant. 360 was a dominant platform.
They wanted $600 for the PlayStation 3 when it first dropped, and I was like, I can't afford that shit.
No.
I'll pay $300 and get a 360.
Which
and I had
that
for a
misstep
while.
forced them to go back to the drawing board, get the right hardware, get the right people, and then PS4 was great, and then PS5. We have yet to see really where it's going. I think COVID and so many things have affected
The
development
chip
cycles.
shortage,
So
I'm sure helped.
yeah,
Doesn't help.
we're not
They're saying
seeing
that's going to keep going for the next couple of years.
they
They
had
actually
to
lowered
shrink-
their forecast. Of,
shrinking forecast. That's we're not even talking about them at all. We've very little conversation beyond the nostalgia is Nintendo. They're playing their own game. Nintendo has their own game.
It still makes me
It's
laugh that they
out-
could have owned like PlayStation.
It's fucking outselling.
Could have been
both
some
consoles.
partnership. Yeah.
Nintendo did the right thing. They didn't come out with the Pro. Allegedly, they were working on it, and then they wound it back.
I would have
into-
bought it if they did.
Yeah.
Well,
LED
but
version.
if you
OLED.
couldn't buy it. Here's the thing though,
OLED
as a
version.
business strategy, if you find out we're not going to be able to produce these fucking things,
You
so
can
what's the
buy
point
them.
in
You just
coming
have to
out?
fucking get them off the goddamn bots.
I'm just saying
Because they're buying up all the shit as soon as they go on sale. Like every single day, there's available PlayStations and Xboxes on Walmart, on Target, on Best Buy, on GameStop.
You're competing against
these
reseller
behemoths,
assholes.
yeah.
Right. That's why you cannot get one. I mean, yeah, the chip shortage is one thing, supply chain
There's
is
a lot of
another. But if we were
factors.
able to readily just walk into a store and stand on a line, you would have one.
Well-
but because majority of their sales are coming through these online, avenues, it's impossible to get because their fucking bots are taking up all this shit. They're flipping it on hot stock. They're flipping it on eBay, and you have to pay $300-400 more than what the retail
Spot you the
price is.
bots,
Spot you the bots.
I saw a video. Some 3 people were standing outside of an airport, and they had like stacks of Series X and PS5s.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Airport. Well, what I was gonna say, as far as the content stuff goes, why this is like a pivotal time is because there are gonna be new players entering the battlefield soon. It's not just gonna be
Here comes a new challenger.
exactly. It's not just gonna be Sony versus Microsoft and Nintendo also in the mix.
I feel like Nintendo does their own thing
So I
because
said
they
they play
don't
their
they
own
don't
game.
compete.
Yeah, they do.
They
but-
make their own,
have their own IP,
original
But
IPs
you have
and
Netflix and you have
they have their loyal people for that.
you have
Amazon?
Apple kind of also both coming into that sphere now where they're kind of
Tiptoeing in.
Yeah, and it's going to become a bidding war for this content.
Well, it's
so-
all the subscription services. It started with Netflix, and they realized that you can get people to pay monthly for your specific service.
It's no
So now
longer.
it's everything's going to be subscriptions. You're not going to have cable. You're not going to have this. You're
I
going to have
think
subscriptions.
To
for
bring it to the
everything.
Bungie Sony thing, I think the talent at Bungie was worth the price tag. I know what you're saying. They are only right now after they're basically a Destiny company as you know them right now. That's usually when you're having these acquisition conversations, you're going to get that peek behind the curtain. What's coming? What are you guys thinking? What are you guys working on? And Bungie had long said Destiny 2, this last piece of content that's coming out, I think this year, is the last update
one more after that.
for 2. Oh, really?
Yeah, so you have The Witch Queen, which comes out February 22nd, 2022,
Got it.
22 on a Tuesday. Yeah. But there is one final expansion for Destiny coming next year called Lightfall.
Okay.
Which past that, they have nothing announced for Destiny 2 after Lightfall, which is 2023, which begs the question, are we going to go into a Destiny 3? Are they going to go into a new IP?
So yeah, they've already said they're working on that new IP. I assume they show that to Sony as well as part of the acquisition deal. You don't just spend billions of dollars without knowing what's coming. So yeah, I would definitely expect to see something about that in the next couple of years. But would you buy, Joe? Would you buy PS5 based on any exclusivity for a Destiny 3 or Bungie's next? Knowing what you know about Bungie and the quality, would you buy a PS5?
That's tough. It's like, they're coming out saying that, Bungie's going to be an independent developer for them. They're not going to kind of get in the way. They're saying everything's going to be multi-platform for Destiny or whatever. You had 10 years of Destiny next year from 2013 to 2023. And yeah, I would absolutely have to get a PlayStation 5 to play Destiny 3. If it was a new IP, and I can't really speak to that. Who knows what the future is going to hold for that. But yeah, I mean, I was considering getting a PlayStation 5 just for God of War. But that's still not like
That was the reason I got a PlayStation 3.
I know.
back in the day.
It was for me too, but you also got to consider that, yeah, you're going to enjoy that game. You're going to enjoy Spider-Man, but I am a
Wolverine.
multiplayer console gamer.
Yeah, you're very
Yeah,
much
that's
into
true.
the competitive.
I'm a competitive gamer. I want to play with friends. I want to play against friends. I want to play against real life people.
Yep.
So right now, currently on
What about
Sony's,
real life
like,
Peter Griffin?
It's
damn it, Meg.
you know what?
Yeah, there's nothing on Sony's like console right now that has that appeal to me.
To your
They don't
point,
have any shooters. They don't have any, competitive games. It's all really, really high quality single player stuff. But yes, Destiny is a competitive game. It's a co-op game. It's a little bit of everything. So
Destiny
absolutely
sucks.
everything
Your
that you
sister
just
sucks.
said. Everything that you just said makes the acquisition make even more sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have a FPS that
Yeah.
it's a banner FPS. They
Yeah.
don't. I'll tell you, I saw my yearly breakdown. Kind of your year in review on Sony there, and only 11% of my gaming time was on multiplayer. So
Right.
that's to your point.
Right.
Absolutely accurate. They
I
do
probably
not.
played more than 11% on Halo the last 3 months
Oh
alone.
my god, I definitely prefer single player games.
Yeah,
I
that's
really
just
do.
I prefer multiplayer. It
Yeah.
feels more real to me when you're just like in a-
Screaming at
I
the
like to get
player.
immersed.
You know-
I like to go at my
Yeah.
own pace. I don't like to get killed every 5 seconds.
That's to play at your own pace. I real quick, I bought Dying Light 2 yesterday, so having a good time. Joe, sorry, you had a question for that.
No,
I'd hate to bring up another topic.
No,
I'm just-
yeah, I'm debating whether I want that or not, because if I get that, I can't play with you guys because it's not cross-platform. And then Joe and Yao picked it up too, so they're playing it, and I'm like, well, it's
What is
another.
it about?
I heard it was cross.
Dying Light 2 is a co-op, like
Zombie
parkour
survival.
zombie apocalypse game.
Yeah.
In
It's
the
like
first
Dead by
person.
Daylight kind of thing. Or?
So it's more like Dead Rising, but in first person view, where it's like over the top zombie killing, but you're in this open world like space with a map that has 4-player co-op. But the thing that makes Dying Light like different from other games, it has like really
Parkour.
great parkour.
Yeah.
Where
Think
you
of it like
can-
a
Yesterday.
first-person Assassin's Creed almost.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
graphics are actually really good.
Where you can
too.
kind of like zip
It's
line
scary
and,
like
and
fuck.
jump
Yeah.
over stuff, but
gotta-
it's
The
I
really,
feel
first-
like I'm almost zombied out with all these games.
I
That's a
feel
good
like
point.
that too, but this is a
You ever play Dead Island?
different.
So
I
the-
did play Dead
it's
Island.
it's Dead Island.
With
Yeah,
parkour.
it is Dead
Dead
Island.
Island
parkour.
with some more
With
parkour.
Okay.
How, give me a quick like synopsis of what you're liking so far on it, because I heard it's buggy as fuck.
I haven't run into anything too buggy. I just got through but basically the prologue and got to the open area where
You playing by yourself?
you couldn't start the game in a multiplayer. You
Okay.
had to get to the open area and then you can join friends. But I will say to your point, Rob, where it's tough when you're our age and people have different schedules, different things, and some people zoom ahead. So they're so far ahead, they don't even want to help
Joe.
you or go back, Joe, because they're in their game. They're doing their missions.
It's
and
like playing
you don't want to
Diablo
join
with
theirs
Eric.
because they're so far ahead.
And they
So-
join you, they have to do those missions over again.
Exactly. So it's, multiplayer competitive Halo, different kind of beast. But in this case where I've had this problem with MMOs we've tried to play together, with fucking basically every multiplayer game we've tried to play together or hyped up playing together, there's a crowd of people who would fucking run ahead. They'd be so far and so much more advanced.
Yeah.
Basically what happens is they come back and they piggyback you through the fucking game.
Yeah, and
Right.
you don't get to
Boring like
enjoy
fuck.
it.
Yeah,
it's a
they
fact.
kill
You know?
everything while you hide.
I'm
behind
slow and
cover,
dumb
ranking
and
up.
old.
They have all the
I'm
good
like-
weapons and shit.
Yeah, I'm smoking weed and playing the
Yeah.
game, and I'm like kind of taking 15-minute
Yeah.
breaks on my phone and editing a video for TikTok. Like, I just don't dive in and hone in for 5 hours all the time. So
There's
I
been
almost
co-op games
get,
that have tried to like adjust the scaling. If you
yeah,
come in at like level 50 and I'm a level 5,
Avengers.
like Borderlands is a good one to
That's-
kind
they
of
do
go
it
off of.
the
They
best.
did a
Pretty
good
much,
job of kind of scaling the enemies and things like that. But yeah, I totally get it. I mean, that's probably what put a lot of people off of Destiny. Oh, I don't have
Dude.
the Gallahorn. I
Oh.
can't do the raid. I don't have this. I can't do that.
Oh,
getting
I hate
blamed
that
for
shit.
fucking
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
having
Levels
shit.
aren't
I'm like,
high enough.
But
you guys
I
don't
know,
work.
I know you guys got put off by Destiny, but I'm telling you, like they worked out a lot of stuff. There's been so many different updates. Like you're so far behind on the amount of content that Destiny has.
Joe, I'd
To
rather
say
play the
it
Dukes
sucks-
of Hazzard again.
say it
than ever
sucks
play
is
fucking
unfair.
Destiny.
You
But
wipe your ass with this?
Yeah, wipe my ass. I wish I had Destiny rented from Blockbuster so that I could wipe my ass with it and return it. That's what I
well, we
wish.
could.
We can. That's a
That's
topic
what makes
for
Halo
another
so
day.
great.
a
That's what
topic
makes
for
Rainbow
another day.
Six Siege so great. Is it's a game
Siege
that
was
you can
awesome.
just play.
Extraction's
And hey,
stupid.
Elder Scrolls Online is the same way too. They made it so that it scales. That's what makes those games good. Is that well, not so much ESO, but Halo and Siege is that you could just jump into it with your friends, pick up, play,
All right.
and
Halo's
stop playing whenever you want.
So
Halo's
I have a
pure
question for the group because you've
distilling.
all been playing it, and it's kind of our last topic on the podcast.
Yep.
And I'm kind of on the fence
Go ahead.
about getting into Grand Theft Auto 5. This
GTA
late
Online,
into the
baby.
game. So if I were to do that,
You would need a PlayStation because we all play on
right?
PlayStation.
Okay. So hypothetically, I picked that up. I'm already spending fucking $100 on fucking toys from
Hey,
1980s
$3.99, baby.
anyways.
$3.99. It's not too
$3.99?
bad. It's not. Hey, PS5, $3.99. It's a good deal.
So yeah, if I were to do that, and I jump in heist, whatever with you guys, am I so far behind because I've never played it that I'm just gonna
No.
sit there
Chris-
like a schlep and you're gonna just power
Here's the thing.
roll
So
through the whole thing?
with their announcement that they released today, everyone just read the very last thing that they said was GTA 6
well,
is in
not
development.
Even,
We hear you.
they didn't even say it.
That
but
was like the addendum to the main article that they wrote about GTA 5 or GTA Online
Yeah.
coming next gen.
Right.
And they said that they're gonna actually introduce like a career path type of system
Okay.
where it seems to me like they're gonna give you one business for free, which they give a lot of
Yeah,
stuff
the
for
biker
free
business.
anyway. But they have different types of businesses: biker, CEO. Doesn't matter right now.
They're trying to jumpstart new players.
Yeah, they're
without having to
making it
have
that new
millions.
players can play it and jumpstart right into it. And also, me and Rob and Vin at this point, we're all so
Spent
rich.
filthy amounts of
We're
money.
filthy. You'll be fine, dude. We got the
I need to just
technology.
rob you guys then. Yeah.
Well, if you could, but we'll help you out. We'll give you a good cut
Yeah.
and some of the heist. We'll get you on your feet.
Wow.
In,
Yeah.
in my opinion,
Just don't make convince. Don't let Chris take you through that one fucking thing with the goddamn.
Oh my god.
What was that?
Now that we mastered
Which
it,
which
well, that's
raid
because
was that?
they buffed one of the main bad guys, the Red Skull guy in the mini map.
Fucking
It used to be you
goddamn
could just pop
prick.
him in the head with a pistol. This guy
fucking
was
hate
the
that
worst.
goddamn
Oh my
bastard.
god.
We fucking did that shit like 25 times. I said, Chris, I
I
gotta
would
fucking
say-
that work.
Because they made it that
Jumping
you couldn't
in-
just kill him with a headshot. You have to shoot him
He's
like,
like, oh yeah,
five,
I
six-
just zip, 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 zip,
They
and then we're
buffed-
done.
Oh, with the
I fucking
vipers.
go,
With the
bop, 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 we
vipers.
kept tripping
With
every
the
fucking
vipers.
cocksucker.
And then hey,
But
you
we
didn't have the
figured it out,
you didn't have
and
the
now we'll be able to
explosive
do it
ammo
quick.
for the machine gun with the armor
Oh,
piercing
my 2
fucking
shoelaces
rounds.
are
and
untied.
There
The
is a
fucking
lot
guard
of.
does.
I would say this. There is a lot of.
shit.
There's a lot of layers to GTA Online now, where like me and Chris have like evolved every step of the way. We've been there since the launch, and we've hung tight. Chris more than me. I turned on GTA Online the other day. Rob and Chris were playing, and because I've been playing so many kind of next gen and current gen titles, it's obvious it needs the frame rate
feel it, yeah.
refresh. You can see it. You can feel it when you're standing still. GTA Online, GTA is still one of the most
Still
impressive,
holds up.
stunning games. You could just sit there and watch shit happen, and it's amazing.
That motorcycle.
But when you start moving and swinging the camera, it feels dated.
Yeah.
It needs that refresh to really
4K, 60
re-energize
frames,
people.
right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
What's the date on
Jumping-
that?
March 15.
All right.
So soon, thank God.
soon.
Jumping
FBI
in,
smart.
if you were to jump in,
I get my tax return. We'll see if I get a PlayStation 5.
Do we know what that file size is gonna look
it's
like?
tough, man. The one problem I've had with GTA Online is I've accumulated so many things, but it's hard to share those things with everybody. Like I can't have
just give
multiple
up.
military vehicles out. So I can't have you drive my tank and me drive my, insurgent.
There are little things
This-
you could do to finagle
They
something,
didn't-
but
Hone in on what I would consider to be like the gang mentality, where I thought from the beginning it would be cool to have a gang and things are shared. You have a shared community space, you have shared vehicles, shared weaponry or benches. So that way, if someone did a lot of work like Chris,
Yeah.
he could help others
Yeah.
more
use my
in a
vehicles.
better way. Whereas you will be, like I said before, kind of piggybacking along for a while
Yeah.
until you establish yourself, and then it's almost like, well, why would I want to do that? What's
Yeah.
going to give you the purpose to go?
This late in the game when you know
Accumulate-
that GTA 6 is on the horizon and then
It's-
well,
it's
but they're splitting GTA 5. They're splitting
Online is
Grand
gonna
Theft Auto
be-
with online.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
have
why
a
it's gonna
feeling
be
they're
its
probably
beast.
just gonna add maps.
It's a good,
Yes,
yeah.
that's my
That's
hope.
the counterpoint.
So the online and the Grand Theft Auto 5 are both going 60 and 4K?
Yeah, they're both getting the update. GTA Online is going to be split apart for the first time. It's going to be free for the first 90 days to download. But otherwise, I think it's going to be like a $30 or a $20 thing. Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot of fun.
it's
We'll
it's
have
it's a
fun.
good time, and it's at its best when you're together and you're fucking
Yeah.
around and just having a blast. It gets a little monotonous with some of the delivery missions and the hey, fly here, drive there, deliver this, bring that. But overall, like, it's just
Especially when you have
still a
the
lot
boats.
of fun.
Oh no, the worst is when you got to drop the shit from the
those-
plane. I hate that.
No, the plane's fine. That's
The
cool.
plane, the plane.
When you got to deliver the fucking UPS delivery shit, and when you
Oh,
got to drive
that's
the
terrible,
garbage
too.
truck up a mountain.
You can't damage it.
Slow
2 or 3
truck,
miles an hour.
You know, the other
it's
thing
like
that
that
bugs
torch.
me to your point with the only having one vehicle out. Like,
Yeah,
for instance,
stupid.
if I want to drive to my personal plane, my jet that I spent all this money on, you can only have one vehicle, one car, or one plane at a time. So, like, what you have to do is, like, get out of your personal vehicle, steal another car, then call your personal plane to go wherever that spawns 3 blocks away because your car despawns. What I think would be a cool fix would be if maybe they even introduce a new property where it's like, this is the crew headquarters.
They
and
have
you could
to.
put like 10
That's-
cars in it, and anybody can take out any of these 10
That's
cars.
cool,
It's like a
yeah.
shared thing.
That would
That would be
be-
really cool.
That would take Grand Theft Auto Online to the next level, and I
Maybe
think
that's
clans.
maybe that's
and
something that's coming. You know,
I
we don't
think
know.
that's
They've
hopefully.
been limited, you know, with memory.
like
They're
making
putting it
clans
on
actually
hardware
mean
now,
something
right?
that
They have
Yeah.
the hardware.
Now we got a quote
Yeah.
unquote, infinite amounts of hardware.
Yeah.
But that brings me to just thinking about what do I want from the next Grand Theft Auto? Because it's been so long. They've added so much content to
What can you-
GTA
what more
Online.
can
What
you
can you
do?
do? And
Yeah.
to me, what I would like to see is actually go back in time, similar to when we did Vice City. So we had GTA 3, and then they went to Vice City. I've talked to Chris about
You
this
wanna go back to the
multiple
Great
times.
90s
idea.
or-
It's
They really need to go, I think, back to Vice City, 70s, go pre.
70s.
Well, I'm thinking multi-territory because a lot of what Grand Theft Auto revolves around, and I'm seeing this clearly because I'm playing the original ones, is
The definitive
the
edition.
definitive edition,
which
and
are
it's
fun.
fun to play and it's a great
Fun,
game. So
great game.
fuck the internet and what they say, and they fix a lot of stuff that was broken anyway. But one of the things that I feel like they need to implement with the new GTA is a seamlessness and a scale. So I'd like to be able to travel to multiple places. I was really one of the rumors I read that I was the most interested and intrigued with was a mid to late 70s early cocaine trade. You're in a South America, Central America kind of territory. There's like a Caribbean area. There's a Vice City and a Liberty City, and you're kind of part of the drug trafficking that goes on between the cities.
Jesus.
And from what I read, because much lower, much more simplified technology, you're not going to have. You're going to have to rely on payphones. You're going to have to rely on sat phones. And they were saying, like, when you're in the Columbia territory, your car would be your home base, and the trunk would have like your guns and your accumulated stuff. But
Those less
to
doesn't
me-
keep fucking calling.
Yeah,
it
Jesus
should be-
Christ.
oh God, those are exactly. That's one thing you get rid of that. And also one of the other key elements to this and why it makes the most sense. You can't satire today. Today, this whole time we're living in is so fucking dumb and back. Like, how do you even make fun of it without offending somebody or something? You know what I mean? Like, it's almost better to go back in time because there's a lot of good stuff they can do satire that shows why we're here today. I think it would be cool to get an older
You don't want
game.
GTA 6 with pedestrians walking around with fucking plastic masks.
Yeah, exactly. Like COVID, any of that stuff.
It's
Well, I want
silly,
to go back to
yeah.
a simpler time, and it
I
would
mean,
be
Vice
very
City
cool.
is my favorite Grand Theft Auto.
I'm playing it right
by
now.
far.
It's
I
so
remember
fucking
renting that
cool.
from Blockbuster back in the
And
day.
the songs and the music and
Best.
all the great shit in the 70s.
Even
and,
the
that
cars.
would be
the
awesome.
cars.
GTA
Dude,
3
old
was great
Camaro.
too.
Love GTA.
GTA
I'm playing
3
it backwards. It's fun.
GTA 3 is great, but the radios was
Sorry, guys. Siri
Cinco,
just
cinco,
jumped on
cinco.
in there.
Nueve
radio
dos.
stations.
Nueve
It's,
dos.
it's before the,
Fernando's,
Fernando's New Beginnings.
But
Changing the diapers on the babies and who knows what else.
bro, the best talk radio. They have
Absolutely
the
best.
best talk radio. And
Laszlo.
those early ones are amazing.
Laszlo.
They're better than the current stuff.
Sure.
4 was really good. 5 was a little But again, I think
I've always
now
appreciated GTA Radio though, and
Oh,
I gotta
oh,
say,
so good.
since they added Dr. Dre to the game, there's been some
it's better?
bangers
I
on West
haven't-
Coast classics.
it
man.
makes even those missions where you're just driving around
Yeah,
doing
cruising.
bullshit better because at least you have good music to listen to.
Oh,
Oh, Chris and I
yeah.
both put on
Live.
the West Coast classics, playing
Hey,
the
listen,
same towers.
I could
The thing
That's
is,
why I
like,
can't stream the
I
game.
could pop on there and just drive around.
if
I've
you're thinking
always
about
been able to do that.
that era, then you got to talk about like 70s music.
Hell yeah.
But is this generation going to be susceptible to listening to the Bee Gees series.
Well, get this.
good
What about
point.
when
Fuck
the
them.
Scarface
They can't
play. They're
game
too
came
young.
out? I think it got people into Earth, Wind, and Fire
Who's-
that weren't into that shit.
I'm
Who's
just-
buying? You know, who's into
great game.
GTA? Like we've grown up with GTA. You know, that was there from when I was 13, 12, 13, even younger. Really, 6th grade I think was the first time I ever heard about it. So now that audience is mature. Those people who are playing this game, who are really seeking it out, it's an older audience. It's a more mature audience, and I think a lot of us live in the nostalgia moment where we're like, man, I wish it was like this still. And I think that Grand Theft Auto has the formula to bring us something like a Narcos video game. You know, there's a lot of content out there that's all about the Mexican cartels and the Colombian cartels, and we love looking at that stuff and living vicariously through it. What better way than with
They
got
got to put Danny Trejo in it then.
Hell yeah! Well, Danny Trejo is in Vice City.
Yeah.
He's
he's in
the
Book
son.
of Boba now.
Yeah,
That's true.
That he
That's true.
is. And he was in Far Cry too. Far Cry 6.
If I had a wish list though, with GTA 6, regardless of time, place, seamlessness. I want to go in and out of places without loading. I almost want no loading. I
How
want
do
to be
you
able to
think that
fly to
those
different
maps
territories.
would translate to a new GTA Online? Do you think there would be like bridges and stuff that would take you to other places?
I think what we're looking at in the future is GTA Online being a different game. I think GTA Online, they're going to dedicate a development team to that.
It's
'cause
going to be that one city, or do you think they're going to expand on the map?
They'll expand. They tested it with the island when you travel to the island, but there's going to be a separating moment because there's still they just phased out the 360 version.
Yeah.
So now you can't play GTA Online on that, but you
Really?
can still play on PS4. You can still play on Xbox. Whatever.
I
it
created
is.
my guy on the 360. Funny enough.
So if you're gonna evolve GTA Online with more maps and more territories, you're gonna have to go to a next gen only thing. But to me, the only things that interfere in those experiences on Grand Theft Auto are loading screens or transitional, movements. I think at this point in technology, and with these new SSD drives and all of this promise, seamlessness creates immersion, and
That's
that's
one
what's
of the
going
things
to
they
help.
said they're going to add. They said with this next gen update, the loading times.
Just
Oh,
like
absolutely.
4K,
nothing.
60
Yeah, yeah.
FPS, and less loading time.
And I gotta say, this
But
technology
imagine
that's
there's
been
no
coming out is
transition
like
screens.
so
Here's
amazing.
like the thing that I love about Grand Theft Auto is I love the grittiness, I love the humor, I love the opening sprawling city that just has a life of its own. The thing that I don't like the shooting. I think the shooting is trash.
They've
So
always had a little bit of a
it's
problem.
just, you
Max
know,
shooting in
Payne.
Red Dead and Max Payne is phenomenal.
That's funny. Yeah.
And it gets better and better. Red Dead, the shooting is great.
it's a pretzel holder.
They actually
to-
react to when they get shot in a specific body part.
I know,
too.
but that's the other thing that I'm hoping that a new Grand Theft Auto will do is kind of improve the
Or
hit
even this March
detection.
15th,
You know what can?
like
That's
My,
funny
my,
you say
my,
that.
my question is, would they consider making Grand Theft Auto first person?
You can play Grand Theft Auto
No.
first
You can.
person.
Never.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I'm
GTA
saying
Online.
as a game, it's
No, but-
initial. You could go first person.
That
play
was one
first
of the
person
big
VR,
things when
but
they brought GTA from 360 from PlayStation 3 to PS4 is they said you could play GTA first person now.
Not
you were
quite.
To
Never
me-
it's not quite.
totally.
But
you
to
can play the game
me-
entirely first person.
Yes, you could.
If you
Now
want
you can. You can play GTA 5 front to back first
In
person.
fact,
That
get
was-
this.
But
So I actually put it in first person and then put on the VR headset.
the one thing too
I wanted
about
that.
GTA is it's the character. It's
Yeah.
not that it's me. I don't
Yeah.
see me as that. I love the characters.
And when I play
The
online,
one you
I
play
see
as
it's me.
versus yeah, exactly.
I'm a sick
Online
fuck.
is the persona, whereas I think with more Vice City.
Yeah,
and
it's
San
your Tommy
Andreas and-
Vercetti,
Trevor
your
and
CJ,
Franklin.
your-
But
I
do
love
you
that shit.
want that? Do you want like 6 to have like a character again, and then the
Yes.
story is based off that character, or do you want organic interactions with you as the character, and then you're altering the story, you're altering judgment, you're altering how, different
Play
like
Heavy Rain
different
if you wanna
story,
make this
different
situation.
story.
I want it to be like how it's been with this one, where you have your character for the story, and then you have your online guy for when you want to do
yeah.
good rat shit.
I mean,
with your
GTA
friends.
3 was basically you were him, like because he didn't have a voice, he didn't
Right.
talk, so.
They couldn't,
But,
they couldn't
yeah.
afford that.
Well, no, but they
yeah,
had a
no.
lot of good voice actors. They had
Nico
Frank Vincent.
Bellic.
Oh yeah.
you
Well,
know.
in 3 though.
Yeah, 3 had great.
3 has a
Ray
ton of-
It has an
Liotta.
amazing cast of people. That's
Yeah.
the one thing
It's
that
not the main character.
Rockstar got away from because it complicated the development process. But
Yeah.
they used to love first theming their games around movies. That's
Right.
kind of how they wrote
Yeah.
all the stories.
Yeah.
And they would get Hollywood actors. Fucking
Burt
it's Ray
Reynolds.
Liotta. I'm
Samuel
literally
Jackson.
playing I'm like, now you couldn't necessarily get this, but they said one of the problems was they had like, a little bit of that prima donna issue. They had a little
Apparently,
bit
Burt
of
Reynolds was like a real asshole.
a pain in the ass. Yeah,
He,
so
he did a take, and they
wanted
wanted
another
to
one.
shoot it again,
It's
and
like,
he
no.
was like, "You got to give me an attaboy." Like he's pretty much, he wanted them to say like, "Good
It's
job."
great, Bert.
And apparently a lot of them get that way.
San Andreas has Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah,
You're
that's
just
what I
like,
just said.
holy shit. And they got away from that because they said it complicates things. So, we'll never go back to those. But I hope with this next one they get. GTA 5 just didn't. It was a little all over the place. Like they tried to do a lot with 3 different characters. I like a single character. I like a narrative driven through a single person.
I prefer a single character. I think they did a good job at establishing 3. I mean,
Yeah.
Michael.
Oh, it's not bad. But he's like
Franklin
the middle-aged.
and Trevor. They're all like solid characters, but I would rather be.
They're the 3 GTA personality types.
Yeah.
The crazy rageaholic nut job who just does anything, blows up everything. The middle-aged kind of normal guy, and then the street dude. And it's just, I don't know. It was great.
It
but
worked for 5, but I would like to see them go back to just being like one guy. I mean, they said it doesn't make sense for one person or character to be doing all of this stuff.
It's true, man.
And that makes sense, but I mean, still, I don't know. There's something about being like Tommy Vercetti or CJ.
Well, if they
that's
do
just-
like
or
a leap
Nico.
in the back into the past, they might do a single character or something.
I hope that's the way. I hope that's the direction they chose.
No matter what, you know what? I'm glad that because if you ever look at anything that Rockstar posts, the comment section is just
Trash.
You know what I want to say,
It's
man?
bots.
These people don't deserve GTA 6 at this point. Now. I hope it never fucking comes out. At this
Whoa,
point.
hey,
I
I
hope
want it,
just for
hey.
those fuckers who just
They're just
where's GTA
incessant.
6? Where's GTA 6?
Well, they wanted to
I'm-
get the technology there, and I can understand that from a studio standpoint. And I'm sure that after that flub from CD Projekt Red, a lot of companies started reevaluating their shit because they said this could have happened to any of us.
Yeah,
Because
Rockstar.
there's been this culture of like, get the shit out, get the shit out,
Pump it
pump it out,
out.
pump it
We'll
out,
fix
pump
it
it out.
later. We'll fix it later.
Do it in post.
Rockstar, first they build their own engine. That one thing you said before, real quick, that kind of concerns me in a way, thinking about it. Rockstar has always evolved their games, and especially GTA, by coming out with other games. They would come out with Max Payne to work on the shooting aspect. They
Red
would
Dead.
come out with a Midnight Club to fine-tune
Yeah.
driving, and then
Yeah.
they would apply what they learned
Yeah.
into GTA. This time it's like, man, they haven't done fucking anything else.
Yeah.
I'm
Red
trying to think.
In like 10 years.
Sorry,
Couple
Red
years
Dead. That's
ago.
not fair. Red Dead 2 is a
Red
massive
Dead
fucking
is
game.
a phenomenal game, and
But
But isn't
so
that a
Rap-
different studio working on that now, though?
No, it's
No.
Rockstar is now
Anymore.
one giant unified studio.
Oh,
Whereas
wow.
before it was Rockstar North and Rockstar,
Well, then
West
maybe there's
South,
hope for the combat system. If you said that the Red Dead 2 combat system is so much better, then maybe the
my understanding is I
That's what
remember
they
reading that
applied-
they were gonna put the physics and like the hand-to-hand
Gunplay.
combat and the gunplay from Red Dead
into this update.
this next gen. I haven't seen them saying anything like that now, but
They're
I
probably going to
hope that's
refine
true.
it further than that. I mean, it's a next-gen console. Red Dead wasn't on
Not-
a next-gen console.
Not even no, just the
Yeah.
update for 5 in online. Not even for 6. They're saying
yeah.
they were gonna apply some things they learned about
Oh.
Red.
So
So
the physics engine, which is a lot more solid in Red Dead, the hand-to-hand combat,
And that's
is
already
great.
coming out in a month from now?
March 15th, it got delayed. It was supposed to come out last year. They had
Wow.
announced it in the spring or summer state of play for Sony, and
remember
then
that.
they delayed it in the fall. They said no, it's actually going to come out 2022, which seemed far away. Yet here we fucking are.
I'd rather wait for a good game,
Yeah.
and I'd rather play a game that's been good for fucking however many years, 8 years, 10 years, than get one of those games that you know what I refer to them as, that you just throw away after
Tissue?
one. Yeah, one of the tissue games. That,
He's not going to say it.
like Madden.
I'm not gonna say it.
Robbie, baby, on that note, take us home, JR.
So we had a lot of stuff that we talked about today. We started with wrestling. We talked about some Star Wars. Talked about video games, and this has been a great episode. We had a fun toy hunt, so we actually kind of combined what we were doing before, and hopefully we'll be able to put that toy hunt up maybe before the episode so that they know what we're talking about, or maybe
Yeah.
even splice it
We
together.
missed you, Zach.
But yeah, Zach, you didn't join us, but we bought some toys, and we'll
Hope you
have
enjoyed the
Zach back
episode.
on the show next week, hopefully, is depending on availability and everything. But once again, we want to thank all the viewers for watching the show. If
Tricky
you want,
Ricky, baby.
if you enjoy the show,
Hey,
please
Tricky
let us
Ricky,
know in the
thank you.
comments. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and this has been the Break Room Podcast. Woo!